I need to share this. And we're live. Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you guys are having a fantastic day. So yeah, Unity 7 was just nicely announced yesterday. For anybody that doesn't know, Unite Seoul is actually happening right now. And they actually showed off Unity 7 and several features and a few different things. So I wanted to actually go through a roadmap and also show you some of the features that they're going to be releasing. And by show you features, I mean I'm literally got some of the test projects they showed off inside of the Unite presentation slide. I'll actually be showing some of the API and a few other things. So you can see here, I've like the Graph Toolkit presentation slide project and all that kind of stuff. So I won't be just talking about like Unity 7. They also showed stuff for like Unity 6.6, 6.7. And by looks of it, we no longer have a Unity 6.8. There was going to be a Unity 6.7, then 6.8. Instead, 6.8 is just becoming Unity 7 because it's just a huge like update. So yeah, let's actually begin and actually talk about it. For this stream, I'm going to just go over mostly the Unity engine side of things, but I will go over a little bit of the production side of things. There's actually some new command line interface stuff that you can actually link external programs to Unity. Blender is going to be an example, but just for people wondering, yeah, Unity 6.8 will no longer be a thing by the looks of it, unless they change their minds to have like one more test release. But as of the current cycle, 6.7 will be LTS, and then Unity 7 just straight out will be next generation. Do note this quarterly release chart shows when they're going to be out of beta, so this is actually like official release. You can get 6.7 right now. I mean, I already have like multiple projects on 6.6 and 6.7, and you can get core CLR build right now as well. That's public. So do note the Unity core CLR is only for player builds. It's not for editor yet. 6.7 looks like it's going to be where they actually have the core CLR ready for editor. So just a heads up. But yeah, so basically around November, December, we're going to get out of beta, but the stable release of Unity 6.7, and that's when we're going to start getting the beta for Unity 7. So when 6.7 comes out, like Unity 7 is actually going to start having public beta. There's technically already alphas of Unity 7, but they're not public. But for anybody wondering, the entire thing's built on core CLR. The single renderer thing is going forward. So basically, built-in render pipelines being deprecated. HDRP is being deprecated. Do you know deprecation is the same thing as being completely removed? They're basically no longer adding new features and so forth. Built-in render pipeline, by looks of it, will be removed officially in Unity 7, but it looks like HDRP might still be there. And there is a chance that built-in render pipeline will still be there. I actually messaged the Unity staff about that. Because one of the main things they mentioned about Unity 7 is there's going to be no breaking changes from 6 to 7. And basically, I am waiting on the answer, is that no breaking changes from 6.7 to 7, or like just 6 in general. There's key reason why there's a difference there is in 6.7, if they remove built-in render pipeline completely, then yeah, that would be no breaking changes from 6.7 to 7, because 6.7 had the breaking changes and there was no new ones from there. So basically, if you're working in Unity 6.7, when it comes out, anything you do in 6.7 will automatically work inside Unity 7 itself. So just keep that in mind. And we'll also be talking about a few other things as well. But yeah, figured I'd start off. I'm just kind of casually going through this. I've went through the slides a little bit, and I've also tested out some of the API and tested out some of the features mentioned. But yeah, one thing, my dog's. Let's go. But yeah, let's actually talk about some stuff. So I won't be going over anything AI related today. I don't really talk about AI on this channel, but I will be going over some of the command line and kind of the more important features that will actually affect people. So we'll go for every single slide inside the Unity engine section. So for people that don't know, there's a new hierarchy. It was actually added in 6.3, and you can actually use it from 6.3 on, but they haven't considered it feature complete until like 6.6 and 6.7. For those that haven't seen it yet, basically, the new hierarchy has like the active tag stuff, and you can actually add your own custom buttons. You can even use like filters, like search index filtering and stuff like that. If people haven't seen like the search index filter thing, it's actually this. Basically, you can actually create like the search thing's been a thing since like 2022, but they're actually integrating an updated version into like the hierarchy. And you can, basically the hierarchy is getting remade, a lot better performance. For those that don't know, the old hierarchy is one of the reasons why the performance sucked whenever you had so many game objects spawned in. If you had like thousands of game objects, the old hierarchy actually had a reference in editor, and that's actually why the editor had such a huge performance difference. One of the reasons why the editor had such a huge performance differences between editor and runtime. So with the new like hierarchy 2.0, that's not going to be a problem. Do note, if you're using 6.3 and newer, you can go ahead and enable it. If you're using, if you create a new project in 6.5, they actually go ahead and enable it by default. If people don't know where to enable it, I've actually showed this off, and you actually have to enable this if you want to do like the UI toolkit new features. But if anybody's ever curious about it, if you go to like the UI toolkit, there's like a setting called like enable scene UI offering and stuff like that. You can enable this setting, and then you can also go down, and there should be one for like hierarchy specific, and I believe it's at the very bottom. Yeah, they actually made it a check mark to use the old version instead now. So if you're using like 6.5 and newer, it should be like enabled for you by default, new project. And it may seem weird that I'm spending so much time talking about the new editor, but it comes with a lot of new API. Fun fact, you can use this API for animation stuff. I decided to actually create some examples to go through this, while talking about the roadmap and everything. Do know I'm in like a Unity 6.6 beta here, but wanted to just show this off. So, and one of the examples that the new editor API has, it has what is called a hierarchy window API. And basically, you can actually use the hierarchy window API to do a couple things. One of the things it does, it allows you to actually grab a enumeral of what is called a hierarchy node. And this API is, they introduced the foundation of it in 6.5. It's just 6.7, and Unity 7 itself has like all the new features like actually like enabled. But you can go ahead and start using some of the API starting from 6.5. So like from 6.5 and on, you can actually go ahead and use the hierarchy window. But one of the like examples of why it's nice to have like new features like this going forward is you can actually just get the node, and you can actually get its node path. And what that means is like I can actually go here, get selected node path. If I actually go in here, I just made like a simple thing. It actually grabs the entire node path in the hierarchy, and it may seem like, okay, that's not an important feature. You can actually inject that into a animation rig and actually automatically set up like bones. And that's actually what I did here. So like, for example, this new hierarchy editor is actually what lets me sync up the sword. Like I created an API to actually sync up the sword and shield to the like the actual bones of like the fingers and stuff. That way, whenever I like swing a sword, it actually like goes down. So that's actually what was created with the new hierarchy API. So just saying. But yeah, you can Unity 6.7. If you're actually already in 6.7, Alpha 2 is currently out. You can already start using some of this stuff. But I want to actually go to the really cool stuff that's coming out. For like Unity 6.7 LTS, there's these new rendering layer mask support stuff. And for people that don't know about it, and I'm actually going to be like going, I'm going to be like opening other projects and stuff just to like show off different things. So you're going to see me open up different, like actually open up projects quite a bit on this stream, because I just want to actually show like different things. For anybody that has been wanting to do like custom render graph stuff with Unity 2D, it's actually been quite limited. One of the things that's coming inside Unity 6.7, or actually no, it's now already in 6.6 beta, and they're adding more features in 6.7. You can actually create your own injection paths for render graph. For anybody that doesn't know what that means is whenever you're doing stuff inside like the render graph, you can actually do like custom shader injections. So like, for example, if you're playing a horror or you're making a horror game and you want to do like a crazy insanity effect. 1 second. Sorry, my dog is just like trying to interrupt this as much as possible. But basically, if you're using like Unity 2D URP, you could use like the new render layer mask support and render graph injection points to do something like insanity feature, where as your player's insanity goes down, the world starts to warp. So you could actually inject like a shader in the frontmost like render path layer for like the render graph. And you can actually like cause shadows to distort. You could cause like blood drops to come out of sprites and stuff. And you can do a lot more of that. Another thing is, if anybody's seen my like previous streams, you'll also know that with it, whoops, out of 3D light, we need 2D light. You can also create your own custom 2D lights now. Yeah, you can actually just create your own custom 2D lights. So like if I actually go in here, you'll see I have a God Rays 2D light. This is actually one I've been working on. You see I can create like a light sprite if I want to create a custom like column, and I can even get back to generated mesh when I want to, and it works with everything. So you could do a lot more like actual really cool effects with this now. So there, it may seem like a very small feature, but it's actually very, very, very useful for 2D rendering. If anybody doesn't know, there's actually a downloadable project, by the way. You can get this project right now off Unity's asset store. It's free. Unity actually made a demo project called Bunny Buzz, and I'll actually go ahead and like put a link to it. Actually, let me grab that link real quick. You can actually download this, and Unity actually has a lot of like examples and for it. Yeah, I'll actually bring this over on screen so you guys can actually see this. There's actually a forum. If anybody's ever curious about like seeing some of the new features. So this roadmap has like features from like 6.5, 6.6, 6.7, and also Unity 7. So do know like if you're just wanting to see like the Unity 7 stuff, it's going to be slightly mixed in with some like Unity 6.7 features. Oh, I will say this, NT Core Components for All is going to be Unity 7. They have confirmed it's ready. Oh yeah, here's a good example. The light thing that I was talking about, where you can inject your own custom render passes, you can force a light onto a 3D world. This is a 2D light, but it's actually being injected into 3D models. So that's one of the new things that this actually talks about. And it's actually really good performance. Like if you're not needing very advanced lighting for a 3D game, you actually could get better performance, like you could do a lot better just throwing a 2D light in a 3D world, because 3D models now are supported with 2D lights. Some of that was already added in 6.5, but it got a lot better in 6.6, and 6.7 is adding a lot more with it, specifically like surface catch stuff. Also, Physics Core 2D components. For anybody that's seen any of my streams before, you guys know I work with the Physics Core module a crap ton. Like I do burst compilation and multi-threading, and I literally just create my own custom like Physics Core components and so forth. And I make my own physics events. All that is built off of Box 2D version 3.1. Unity first added in 6.3, and they've been slowly adding new features. There isn't a built-in component though, like box color, rigid body, 2D and stuff like that. In Unity 6.7, they're adding new components, and I can actually show videos of like early work in progress. Do you know the videos I'm about to show you is very early work in progress? Thank you, Melvin May, for actually making these. Yeah, Unity 7 is going to be out for testing this year. Unity 7 should be in beta testing around November. Unity 6.7 will be stable release in November as well. Do you know there's actually alphas already? It's just not public. Sorry, guys. There is. I could say stuff that I know that's coming in it. But I can also show off some of the stuff. Melvin, I'm showing off some of your stuff. If you ever see this stream, for anybody that doesn't know, Melvin May is one of the head people of the 2D physics. He's actually the one behind this. He's actually the person that created this feature and added it inside of Unity. So he's actually official dev. he actually has some example stuff, and I'll actually link his channel. He actually shows new 2D features before they're like publicly released to get like feedback and stuff, and also just show like fun things that he's like working on for Unity. And is that the .NET Core version? Okay, so the editor or the player? So if you're talking about like the .NET Core version of like builds, you could do that right now. I have Core CLR, right? Like I already have Core CLR right now. If I actually go to my project settings here, this project is using Core CLR. Sorry, I'm in wrong setting panel. See, you can do Core CLR right now for player builds. Like, and this is public. You have to have Unity 6.7 Alpha 2, just a heads up. But Core CLR for player builds is already out. Core CLR for the editor. So the editor isn't Core CLR yet in the current alpha. Unity 7 will be Core CLR for the, as far as I can tell, I don't think they're going to be able to backport the editor for it yet. So like Unity 7 will be Core CLR for the editor as well. When that comes out, we'll have .NET 10 and C# 14 features. So technically, Unity will automatically compile Core CLR to the new .NET 10 and 6.7 if you choose Core CLR as the backend, but you don't have access to those new language features until Unity 7. Well, technically you could do like a CSC a file and actually tell you could probably like force it to compile. Then you can use like C# 14 language features right now. Like you could actually use C# 14 features right now if you really want to. Actually, I probably could actually enable, like I could probably actually do add support for like C# 14 on stream if we really want. For anybody that doesn't know, you can actually just there's what is called like a CVC file, and you can actually just like put it inside by assembly, and you can actually have like a Roslyn compiler use that to change the language version of what you're using, and you can actually use newer like C# features even without Unity like having them fully supported right now. But yeah, so again, Physics Core 2D components, they're burst I don't know, well, I don't know too much about the components itself. But like if you're just using like the physics shape API, like for example here, this entire project I have, oh yeah, I don't have game view open. Let me actually open this real quick. Ignore the UI. I still haven't had a chance to come in here and update the UXML schema. But for anybody wondering like about the new physics stuff, I don't have any rigid bodies or box colliders inside this project at all. Like I have 0 colliders and stuff. This is using the new physics system that's going to be put in 6.7, and new stuff will be also added in Unity 7. We'll go over that as well for 2D physics, but I have no rigid body, no colliders or anything, no ray casting. This is all the new like new physics stuff, and really good performance. If anybody, oh wait, actually, you know, while I have this open, warning. You're about to see like a cursed scenery of stuff. If anybody hasn't seen my channel before, yeah, you can get like millions of like sprites on screen. Like in a build with Core CLR, my limit so far is 2.2 million enemies with pathfinding. So the performance is really good. Like look at this. Like it takes like no time to spawn them in. Do note in editor, I have to limit myself to lower amount. I think I can get in editor up to 250,000. The reason why you go from 250,000 to 2.2 million in a build is because again, Core CLR is in the player builds right now, but not in the editor for the version of Unity I currently have. So when I make a build, it converts over to code to Core CLR, and I get that performance improvement. So that's why I go from like 250,000 to 2.2 million. But also, if anybody's wondering, you'll notice that there's 0 game objects spawned inside the scene for like enemies. These are not game objects, but they have a health, they have a pathfinding. I'm having them just go to a patrol point in center at the current moment, and they have like animation playing. I do apologize, that might burn people's eyes. So the performance for the new API is really good. Oh, also it's only 3 draw calls, and it does support lighting and shadows as well. My dog is just having... Right, 1 second. All right, sorry, my dog, I let her out and then I let her back in. But yeah. All right. There we go. But yeah, so you can get really good performance and stuff like that. Do note Unity 6.7 right now, the core CLR. So if you enable core CLR right now, just heads up, Burst Compiler is not supported with core CLR right now. So just heads up, if anybody is wanting to use core CLR and Burst Compile, they are adding Burst Compile support. So like, for example, if I like actually go to any of my like Burst Compile code, in editor, if I open up like the Burst Compiler inspector and stuff like that, you'll see like, okay, a lot of my physics stuff, and you'll see this is all like my own custom like stuff for Burst compiling. You can even see like the render batch stuff. So Burst Compiler will work in editor when you're targeting core CLR as a 6.7, but since core CLR doesn't support it in build yet, whenever you make the build, it'll strip out all the Burst Compiler attributes. Do note, it just strips the attributes. It won't break your code. So if I make a build and I have Burst compiled code in it, it'll just not Burst compile it and the build still works. In certain cases, I actually have better performance without Burst compiling in core CLR. So I cannot wait until like core CLR is ready for Burst compiling. Being art. Yeah. If you're going from like an engine that already has like a Mono.NET stuff, and then you're going to like Unity's thing, it could be a fun time. So I don't just do game development. I do like a lot of like app development. Like I'm trying to think if I'm allowed to say no. I can't say that yet. In a month or so, I can say what I was about to say, but I have like NDA that I have to wait one more month. But I do a lot of stuff like outside of Unity development as well. Yeah, so you guys can see here really good performance with core CLR and the new physics system. And yeah, but going on, the attendant profiler suite. I have two reptiles, and my reptiles are chasing the dog in my room. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to talk about like any of the AI stuff. Oh yeah, we do have new animation system. I'm just saying, like a lot of people have been talking about like when are they going to talk about the new animation windows and stuff. There is a new animation workflow coming. There's a new control rig for keyframing 2D characters and secondary motion powered by physics. I'm actually going to use the actual Unity developer. Do you know, like the Melvin May, the creator of like the new 2D physics stuff and everything, he's actually demonstrated like these are tests. By the way, these videos that he shows are test phases. They're not representative of the final quality of the feature that's being added to Unity. But you can see like some of the new component stuff that's actually like mentioned here. So like some of this, you can actually see like the early testing of it. But I brought this up. If you notice, the physics system, the new physics updates, changes based off of the sprite. Why that's important? Hitboxes. If you're doing a sword swing in 2D, there's going to be a way that whenever you swing your sword and you go to sword animation, your hitbox actually changes with your sword swing. That's going to be a nice feature. Oh. Yeah, so again, this is not final like quality. This is early experimentation, but figured people might want to see this. Also, Melvin, good job. I really like the physics area sprite. And if anybody's wondering how to do this, I can actually near the end of the stream, I can actually show you the repo. I mean, I can actually show you guys code. And if there's anything you guys want to see specifically, whether it's Unity 6.6, 6.5, 6.7, or like Unity 7, go ahead and ask in chat, because like I actually have some of the projects that was shown during the Unite presentation. So like if I actually go to like we'll come back to this for a second. If we actually go to slide 49, set dialog, you'll see that is very familiar to right here. So I do have some of the actual like Unity projects that was actually used as demo inside of the Unite. So I can show some stuff off as well. But yeah, today's stream is kind of just like showing off a lot of stuff. I don't think particles is going to be like, it might be in 6.7, but it might be in Unity 7. I know he said he was just, this is early experiment. So I don't know if this is going to be ready for 6.7 or Unity 7, like whatever, like man, that's so hard. 6.7 and Unity 7 itself. But yeah, fun times. But yeah, so cool stuff. You know, there's actual GitHub repos that you can like test out some of this stuff as well. But yeah. So new animation workflows coming, secondary motion, control rigs. I'm assuming this is also going to include the sprite blend shape API or like new features to sprite blend shape. There's actually something called like sprite. Let's actually do S real quick, and I'm going to just say like S dot blend shape. So there's actually like a sprite blend shape API stuff that you can actually like send data to graphics buffer. For anybody wondering like what that's used for, sprite deformation. So if you ever seen like maybe you have like a jelly donut in 2D and you like a character jumps on it, or like a rubber tire. Imagine you have a rubber tire and you have a 2D car controller that's going left and right. So like a side scroller style. Using like the blend shape, you can actually calculate the deformation in the tire to actually make the sprite deform compared to how much force is actually being calculated inside Unity's physics system. So you can actually like link like the physics to actual like sprite deformation. Do you know that's actually already doable in like 6.6. They're actually adding editor windows to Unity 7. And the reason why I say editor windows, there's actually no inspectors for that API right now. So if you can use the API, but there's no like inspectors to easily see stuff. But you can start doing that. The 2D physics integration, this has already started, and it's been starting since Unity 6.3. But they had the old physics and the new physics separated. And what I mean, but you can actually like see this. Let's actually go to my test project here. So like the one that has like, there's no colliders, no rigid bodies and stuff. If I actually go, package manager probably show this off the best. If I go into Unity's built-in modules, you'll notice there is a physics 2D and then a physics core 2D. The physics core 2D module is the new updated physics and technical like behind the scenes stuff. If anybody's ever heard of Box 2D, Unity has used Box 2D 2.4 for like rigid bodies, collider 2Ds and stuff. Well, Melvin May implemented Box 2D version 3.1, which was a complete rewrite of Box 2D. And by rewrite, it's in a different language. Box 2D 2.4 was C++. Box 2D 3.1 was just pure C. So I do mean literal complete rewrite, but it's higher performance because unlike the components that we have right now, the new stuff, multi-threading, like very good multi-threading. And as you guys saw earlier, I was able to like just spawn a crap ton of enemies. I mean, I can actually like, I think I have like 131,000. Yeah, like look at this. That's over 100,000 enemies spawned in less than a single frame. No frame drops, by the way. That's with with navigation, so A-star navigation. And again, I'm just having it go to the center patrol point. But like spawning over 100,000 enemies with 3 draw calls, 0 frame drops. I say that's a really good performance update, guys. Yeah, you can make a tire go flat. Like Tech Dave is asking about like when I was talking about like the sprite blend shape API. Yeah, I mean you could do that. For anybody that's been wondering about like the UI situation, UGUI will be staying around for a little bit longer. Just to go to next area, they're gonna actually update UGUI to the new 0 like allocation backend. Yes, there's actually a 0 allocation update backend that's been being worked for UI Toolkit. It's actually part of the text core stuff. UI Toolkit in 6.6 actually already has it. So like if you use like 6.6 beta, there's actually new like no allocation text updating. It was part of the text core, and in 6.6 they also start the process to add it to UGUI. Sorry, Unity UI Toolkit got in 6.5 and UGUI gets in 6.6. And this is actually already public, by the way. Like, and there's new actual like UGUI components that was added last week. Yeah, there's actually new components added last week for UGUI. And Unity 6.7, for people that are still using UGUI, you're going to get RTL support, right to left language. So like Arabic will be actual doable. That's one of the reasons why like I first started doing UI Toolkit or like years ago, is because I was contracted to do a team like 4 or 5 years ago, and they were trying to add support for RTL stuff, and UGUI just wouldn't cut it. We actually had to use like a UI Toolkit purely for runtime, just because it supported RTL, and that's actually very useful. RTL for tech support opens up a huge player market. There are a lot of languages around the world that do not support like left to right languages. So like adding RTL supports is huge. It may not seem like a big thing, but it opens up your game, like your possible customers, like 20, 50 million. I'm not kidding, because there's millions, tens of millions of people that do not use LTR but RTL languages. So like them adding this to UGUI now makes it where your game can be sold to more people, and like you can get a lot more sales. So this actually is important for like people that are doing non-English like translations. It really does too. Oh yeah, new animation or like richer visuals and animation systems. If anybody, I can actually show the UI Toolkit animation stuff too. I actually have some of that. UGUI will be sticking around for Unity 7. Yes, we're finally getting to the roadmap. Finally talks about more Unity 7 stuff. The new rendering capabilities. I don't know if those are like, okay, I know what some of them are, but I don't know if what I know has been publicly talked about. I'm not under NDA technically. Yeah, okay, I'm not technically under NDA, so I'm gonna hold off on saying what I know yet, just in case I don't want to cause any issues. But ATG, by the way, is Advanced Text Generation. UI Toolkit has had it for a while. It basically adds like the drop down filter, like more stuff for like rendering, and also like the link stuff. So if you ever had like a UI Toolkit thing, I'm trying to think if I can actually show this off real quick. I'll come back to it like and actually show demo later on. Oh, you know, when we show off the graph toolkit, I can actually show it off. But basically it adds up a lot of new stuff, a lot better performance, and the layout options, I have an idea what they are, but I don't want to say it because I feel bad if I say what it is and I end up being wrong. I know it's a feature people have been asking for both UI Toolkit and UGUI, so I'm gonna hold off saying what that is yet until I get confirmation. Oh yeah, UI Toolkit, you can finally edit stuff in Scene. I actually have a video of this. I think I'm the only one on YouTube that actually has a video showcasing this. And do note, if you see my video on this, they actually fixed a lot of bugs. Basically, if I actually go into UI Toolkit here, there's a new thing. This is in 6.6 or newer. There's like a little thing called like standard elements. Before doing, I'm going to grab a panel renderer. Do note, this requires a panel renderer. And the new hierarchy, you have to have a new hierarchy enabled to use all the features. Well, I'm gonna just create a new UXML real quick, just show this off, because like I said, I want to show off the actual API, so not just like talk about it, because I can show some of this off already, like some of the new Unity features. Now, okay, I'm gonna actually have to show this real quick. Oh, it's so good. There's a built-in debug system. Okay, we're going to be coming to this, the graph thing, but I want to make sure. Do you know, I am going to have to restart the editor for this one project. Actually, wait, do I have a Mortal Chronicles still open? Okay, never mind. I'll just use this project. Don't save. I'll actually go here. Like I said, ignore that broken UI. I updated to a new version of Unity, and I actually had to update its UXML schema, like update UXML schema and do a couple things. So you might see like the UI might be a little off. Sorry about that. But basically what I was going to show inside project settings, I'm going to show in this project instead. That way I don't have to restart my editor, because if you do have this disabled and you enable it, you have to restart the editor. There's an option inside UI Toolkit inside project settings called Enable UI Scene Offering. I'm going to be honest, you should also do the always display type name and display USS classes option as well. It really makes like editing and debugging. And there's also a UI Toolkit animation tool. There's actually two new animation tools. So if you guys actually go to like the live stream, like Chad stuff, they are complaining that where's the new animation window stuff. There's 2 new animation tools. And I'm like, guys, Actually, three. No, there's three because there's a graph UI tool that I'm actually going to show off. Actually, I actually have the project open already that has that. But yeah, so if you want to do this, make sure this option is on. And what it is basically you'll see whenever you turn this option on, you'll see, oh, you can actually see your UI toolkit elements in the inspector here. You can see their class names and stuff. And it also creates a custom inspector that you can actually see, and this is so useful. You can actually see like locally overridden variables that are overriding locally overridden like CSS variables that are overriding your style sheets. You can see like custom variables that you're injecting. You can add custom variable injection. You can see your bindings. So if you're doing like runtime binding, like you're binding like your health to like a health bar, and I can actually show that off because I actually have like a liquid health bar skull demo that I can do. You can actually see them in here, which is very useful because there are times when I'm like working inside a UI toolkit, I'm like, why is my health bar broken or stuff like that? I can actually just open it up inside the inspector now and be like, hey, and yes, you can even see the animation thing. But, oh, just heads up, if you guys turn on the enable scene UI offering and you still don't see this, before I forget, make sure inside editor settings, very bottom, make sure you have use legacy hierarchy turned off. That needs to be turned off. When you turn that off, you get the new hierarchy editor, which is way more performant, and it's the one that gives you like the new like ability to add new features to the actual hierarchy. That's how I was doing the sword and shield demo that I showed off earlier in the stream for linking index bones to a sword. But make sure this is also turned off. But when you have both those settings, you'll start to be able to see the actual stuff. And if you notice, inside the panel render, after I have the source asset set, you'll notice inside the hierarchy, I'm actually going to move this over here. That way people don't have to like split their like eyes. That we're going to do this. You'll notice that there's a thing called like open in context. When I click open in context, we're still in the scene. We're still in the scene. You actually can see what your UI looks like inside the scene. Do note like my inventory menu is actually like disabled by default, so that's why you don't see anything there. Actually, let's actually show this. This one would probably be best. And make sure I have my actual correct theme. Yeah, so you can actually like start seeing like your previews and stuff and so forth. Like I said, I have to update this. But in 6.6, it opens what is called the UI viewport. The new thing that Unity is doing with this is it's actually going to be in scene itself. The UI viewport, this window right here, as far as I understood, I'll double check with Hirsch and them, or well, double check with not Hirsch, but the other UI toolkit devs. I forgot Hirsch no longer works at Unity, but I'll check with the other UI toolkit dev team. As far as I understand, with the update that's coming in Unity 6.7 in a couple weeks, this will actually appear inside of scene view. So the UI viewport will actually be inside of scene view, and it's way better than the UI builder because there's actually like built-in like layout debugging, so you can see like it's showing the debugging. I don't have any inline USS, but if you have like a saved USS that's inline, it'll actually show that, and you can actually like hover over like a class style and actually highlight all the buttons and stuff that's used it. I don't have that, so like any inline CSS or USS files, so I can't show that off for this one thing. That's really nice. And it's really good because you can actually edit this UXML and actually edit in scene view, and it'll actually match what you expect in scene view. If anybody's ever used UI builder and you think, why is this not like what you see in the UI builder does not match with what you see in game? It's because UI builder doesn't have access to the panel renderer content, which actually has like your scaling options and stuff. That's why your UI does not match the UI builder. The UI viewport doesn't have that option, or doesn't have that issue. Man, is this in 6.7 only for now? Some of it is, the UI viewport is actually 6.6 beta, but do know the actual like what the menu I just opened is in 6.6 like right now. But in a couple of weeks they're gonna have it where that menu actually overlays your game view, so I can actually like select my game objects and stuff like that, and it'll actually I can actually edit the UI scene viewport in my scene view itself. That will be 6.7 only, but if you want the UI viewport, that menu I just showed off, it is already inside of 6.6. And again, you can just go over here and you can just click your arrows and it'll show it off. This has been way more accurate compared to like the UI builder when I'm trying to like actually create like runtime. Do note the UI viewport is specifically runtime only. The UI builder will not go away because UI builder is for editor, will still be the only way to do editor specific stuff. And that makes sense because the UI viewport scene actually grabs your whatever panel renderer you selected and uses those settings. So that's why there's still going to be a UI builder and then an actual UI viewport. One's for runtime and then one's for editor and creating like a reusable UXML files. Hey buddy, come here, Renekton. How are you doing? How's my little bearded dragon doing? Sorry, my bearded dragon was crawling, climbing up to me. But yeah, oh yeah, there's a reason why you also want to do this as well. If anybody's ever seen like the UI document thing, I would avoid trying to use the UI document as much as possible. So before 6.5, you had this UI document thing, and that's how you did runtime specific UI. Do not use it. I would go to panel render. Just use the panel renderer. There's even a warning now saying migrate to panel render. If the UI document does not support in-scene editing, you have to use panel render for scene editing, and it won't show like stuff like if I actually add like a source asset. I'm gonna just click a random one, just do like assign these. You'll notice that it does show like some of the stuff in here. Like the UI document will show some of this stuff, but it doesn't really have like, oh crap, did they actually add it? Oh no, wait, yeah, okay. I just remembered they added it where you can, in Unity 6.6 before they left beta, you can still edit the UI document in here, but it doesn't have the rendering support side of things. So it will actually look off. And by rendering support side of things, I mean, panel render actually inherits from renderer, which is the same thing that sprite renderer, tile map renderer, mesh renderer, and all that kind of stuff inherit from. So it's SRP batchable, so better performance, one. So the builder is getting an update for editor tools. That I do know. So there's going to be a little thing. Another thing about the UI panel renderer, you want to use it also because of the this option, the UI toolkit animation. If I actually like right click, you'll see, or actually let's just go to the panel renderer controller. Yeah, let's actually just show this off. Is this it? Yeah, let's go in here. I'm gonna actually show this off. So this is my UI. This is a UI toolkit. This is actually my UI toolkit thing. I need an animator window, not the actual like. Here, wait. Let me grab this. Yeah. Okay. There we go. I don't need an animation window. So if I actually go here, you'll notice with the panel renderer. Oh look. Oh, well, there's not a lot of stuff here, right? You don't really have stuff like that. You literally can't see any properties right underside panel renderer. I want to just point this out. Reason why I don't see any animation properties is because my SF inventory, my visual elements are dynamically created. If you are trying to do animations, it's harder to do it on dynamically created UI. But if you actually have like, if I change the source asset, let's go to, let's add like area frame. Okay, so now I have like area frame thing. I had to actually, oh wait, did this auto this might have added a normal animation. There's actually a specific animation clip asset for, yeah, let's make sure. Oh yeah, it did. It tried to add a normal animation clip. I was like, wait a second, okay. The first one shouldn't have shown any properties, but the second one is. Oh, thank God, they actually changed the icon. So when this first came out, the animation and the UI animation clip assets had the same stupid icon. It was fun time. Okay, let's try this now. Actually, wait, I don't even need to set that up yet. They changed a couple things. Okay, 6.6, you were actually able to just drag the animation clip into here. 6.7, it seems they have changed it a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna have fun with this. Anyways, let's actually grab this. Well, I'll have to come back to the animation thing I was going to show you. Basically, inside the animation window, it actually will show the actual like properties. Like you can see like the width, height, the color, background, all that kind of stuff for UI, and you can actually animate it. Sorry, I'll have to see what changed because I was not informed of that. But also for anybody that doesn't know, UI Toolkit actually has drop shadow support and filter support now. Some of the filters is already supported in like starting even in 6.5, and more stuff is coming in 6.6, and then like Unity 7 has all crap ton. So like just talking about the graph toolkit real quick, there is a built-in animation setting for like debugging. I can finally, I've had this like open up for a long ass time. I'm gonna actually close down this one. If we actually go here, so this is the actual project that they showed off inside of the Unite. So this is the actual project they were showing off at Unite. If I click play mode here, and you'll notice that as the text goes through, you'll notice that it's animated. So the Graph Toolkit had a debug animation update where you can actually have in play mode, you can actually have like the actual like graph animate. It might be a little hard. I don't know how bad YouTube's compression this video, but you'll see like there's a gradient that's animated across to actually show like what is the current node playing. So currently we have this. If I actually click this, you'll notice it goes to the next one. That is very useful. That is very, very useful. So you can actually like test out like custom dialogue stuff, graph tools, and see like, okay, where's my graph breaking? Where's my dialogue breaking? Stuff like that. Another useful thing, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be opening up multiple projects. There's so many things I could show. One of the nice things about this is I'm currently working on a Elden Ring style combo system, and with the Graph Toolkit, yes, you can actually do a combat system with the Graph Toolkit. And I actually kind of want to show this off. Do not, I just started this. This is just me like testing stuff out. There's so much that I need to actually like test out. And let's actually, build graphs. But one of the reasons why this is going to be useful, like I said, it's ugly. I'm still working on it. But basically, one of the reasons why the debug system is going to be very nice, you can actually have a node selected and say debug from there. So like I have a combo attack graph where players in this project can do like either a light or heavy attack. Depending on what order they do the light or heavy attacks, they do different animation, like a different animation combo, stuff like that. One of the nice things about like a debug tool like this is by the time I'm done with it, I'll be able to have it where I can just like click a node and say debug from there, and I can actually have the animations follow through without like actually getting into play mode. So I can actually do this from, like you don't need to do it in play mode, but sometimes you might want to. But I can actually just be in scene mode, and I can say do combo, like play this combo, play that combo from the Graph Toolkit, and actually have the animations play. And this way I can actually test out combo like wind up times, hitbox durations, and also like the speed of animations going from one combo transition to another. It's just going to be really nice once it's done. But yeah, so there's new like graph debugging tools, and if anybody's like curious like how that actually works, we can actually like open this up. I'll actually show the API for this. Let's go, and we're gonna do this because like I said, I do plan on showing like actual API and a few other things. If we actually go into our Graph Toolkit API, there is a class called debug view. For anybody that doesn't know, 6.6 actually added the ability to add your own custom buttons to the Graph Toolkit. So if you see here, right where it says my visual nullable graph, there's no buttons here. When I hit play, new buttons actually appear, and you have debug view and you have clear debug data. So you can also like inject like custom debug data and with the new Graph Toolkit feature. Basically how that works is you actually can just declare a custom graph toolbit element. So debug view toggle, for example, you can tell what graph you have to open. So visual nullable director graph is the type of graph, and you tell it to have I-access container window. The iAccess container window is an interface Unity has that allows you to actually like inject your own custom toolbars whenever you're accessing like the back end for like an editor tab or window. So for anybody curious, you literally just set the text for the actual button to like whatever you want. So debug view. Whenever like the constructor actually runs whenever you first open the graph. So like whenever I have like the graph running, that's when the thing plays. But so like right now that the constructor is actually already played, like this has actually already played and so forth. Like this just happened right now. But the thing is, you can actually tell it to like listen to on play mode state changes. And basically whenever the play mode state change, we set that button to visible. So the button is there right now for the debug system. As you can see, like the animation only plays like whenever we're like the debug animation only plays when we're actually in play mode. So you can actually like tell Unity to only enable like the graph debugger when in play mode. And that's literally all they're doing is setting the visibility to like none. If anybody's wondering how you use the graph animation tools, it's a registry and then like get active context, stuff like that. I wanted to actually go in here and show you, it just takes in a hash ID and it's like a 128 hash ID. If you're wondering how you get the hash ID, well, if you notice here, we have graph window. One of the reasons why you have the iAccess container window interface is whenever you actually implement it inside Unity 6.6 or sorry 6.5, 6.6, and 6.7 and newer, it actually gives you actual hash ID access and stuff. So by doing iAccess container window, you can actually just check to see if the container window is a type of graph window. If it is, you can actually just grab your graph. And in 6.6, they introduced an entire GUID system for all nodes and stuff, and you can just grab the ID, and it returns a hash. Whenever you register active context, from here on out, you can literally do whatever you want, whether you're in play mode or editor mode. So, for example, port preview enabled, that actually lets you see the like animated port previews as you're like going through it. And node customization enabled. If we actually go here, you'll notice that, notice how like we just have player name, like just a simple box, but when I enter play mode, now we have like the overlays. So that's what that does. You can actually add like custom like port previews and stuff during like animation debugging. And you can even set like custom wires. So like currently we're here. Whenever I click this, you'll notice that the overlays only play on the current graph node that we're currently at, or like whatever graph node that we're preparing to like use data from. So if you notice the set background, it shows it like the overlay here, but it also shows the set dialog here. That's because the set background doesn't freeze the processing of a node during a node branch traversal. So it does this and instantly does this without freezing, where the set dialog actually freezes node traversal, and that's why the animation stops there. So that's just like a little overview of like the like animation stuff for that Unity showed off at Unite yesterday. And oh, do note, this specific demo that I'm showing off is downloadable. It is actually downloadable right now for people if you guys want to like play with it. Basically, if anybody's curious like how to actually do it, if I actually go to my package manager real quick, Unity actually created a custom package called Samples for Graph Toolkit. And do note for the animation tool or like the new state machine tools and animation. And yes, there is a new state machine tool set for enemy AI. So like if anybody's been wanting like actual like graph toolkit based state machine stuff, that's actually where we're going to be going in the next example. There's actually stuff like that there. But let me actually grab this for you guys so you guys can actually see. I'll actually put this link inside of the chat for you guys. But basically with this link, it actually goes through like how to install it. If you guys want to check out the animation samples, and there's even a texture maker sample and a procedural dungeon graph generator. Yes, there's a procedural dungeon graph generator test example. You can just go to this link that I sent here, follow the install instructions. It's basically you just install inside Unity. If you go to package manager, there's a technical name, just copy that and then hit install. whenever you hit install, it'll install the package, and then you can manually choose inside the package manager what samples you want to see. The visual novel director sample has the animation graph debugging example that I'm showing off here. So if you guys want to like learn how to like do this, you can actually go through, and the manual page also explains how to do each one. Like I said, I'm trying to make it where like as I go through stuff, I actually show code examples and I actually show the feature instead of just like talking about it. I want to actually show the new features and also how to use it. All right, if anybody's wondering, like you'll notice that there's like custom icons and stuff. That's like via the inode type mapper. So there's like a thing, yeah, data type style mapper. So there's a thing called data style type mapper that you can actually grab. This is actually part of Unity's built-in like API. This isn't like just a sample, but if anybody's wondering, you can actually set custom icons and stuff for your like ports and stuff, and that's how they're doing stuff like this. Trying to think what else can I actually show here as well. There's a few other things. And again, if anybody has any questions or if they want me to show like certain things, I can also show a couple other things. Oh yeah, do you know it, the example also shows how to build runtime graph. So the Graph Toolkit Foundation is editor only, but there is an example that shows how to do build runtime graph nodes. And if you guys also want, you know, I haven't updated this example, but all my code that all the code and stuff I work on, I actually keep like public for most part, unless it's actually like my commercial projects. I also have like example code for like dialogues and actually how to create like entire systems. I'm opening up GitHub on the left side. Let's actually open this up real quick. Go to organizations, but yeah, you know, all the code that I have like in these repos, they're being worked on. They're all alpha like code, like, so not all of them are stable. I'm building these example projects specifically for Unity 6.7. So if you ever go to any of my repos and stuff, make sure you're using like the Unity 6.7 and stuff. If anybody's wondering, like, there's examples how to make a Legend of Zelda game. There's a Metroidvania example, if anybody's ever wanting to see them. They have dialogue stuff in there. They have a save system and a lot more. I think it's like 100,000 lines of code. I wish I was kidding. I'm not, though. But most of that is a chunk of that is like Roslyn source generator for like the RPG stat system demo that I made. But yeah. So yeah, Graph Toolkit has a lot of new features. And the State Machine API. I wish I had time to actually make like a better example of this. But I was thinking about this. The State Machine API is actually going public this week. I don't know if I can show. Oh, actually, there might already be some of the API inside of like we can actually test. I'll see if there's like actually the API. I'll make a video on my channel showing this off. But yes, there is a state machine system. If anybody's wondering why Unity bothered adding a graph debugging tool here, Shader Graph 2, Visual Effects Graph version 2, like a UI, like the editor version 2. There's a complete rewrite of the Shader Graph, Visual Effect Graph for SRP. New animation tools. I can't say release date because even I don't know what the actual release date yet is for the new animation tools. I do know they're working on them. I just can't say when. But basically, the reason why like I was showing off all these graph debugger tools, the new State Machine API will, since it's built on the Graph Toolkit, you will have AI state machine, like, and by AI, I'm not talking about like generated AI, I'm talking about like actual like NPC characters thinking, stuff like that. You'll actually have a built-in state machine tool from Unity that actually has like built-in debugging and so forth. So if anybody's ever seen the like Unity asset called behavior tree, think of that just built into Unity 6.7, and Unity 7 is has even more stuff like that. I think what I'll do is I'm actually gonna I'll just create upload a demo video going over this API, because this is a whole beast that would take a long time to like show off. But if anybody's wondering, yes, this example is literally for like a scene loading logic workflow. So like literally, you can literally sync like the state machine to like when you first open the game. So like a player first opens the game, and you can actually say like loading the code, like databases, stuff like that. And you can do even that inside state machine. You can do character combat with the state machine, or like character like NPC logic. So like boss fight logic and stuff inside the state machine. It really deserves its own video. Yeah. So behavior graph is still being updated. I don't know. As far as I know, the state machine API is going to be separated from it. Like, it's still separate from it. The reason why is because the state machine API is supposed to be more of like a very very high performant and faster build time and compilation system. What I mean by that, no offense to behavior graph, and do know it's not the dev's fault. They literally have to go for your entire type catch system and compile it. But like behavior graph and stuff is just, whenever you're editing it, it can be very slow. The reason why it's slow, for anybody that doesn't know what the type catch API is, Unity, whenever you compile your project, there's actually a class called type catch, and it literally keeps track of every script type in your project, struct, whether it's a struct, class, record, or other type. And the type catch actually keeps track of it, and has like different stuff for like there's literally like get fields with attribute, and this involves reflection. It basically pre-catches all your types, and then you can use the type catch. It'll do reflection a single time, and then after that you don't have the negative performance from like using reflection. The only problem is it increases like the more script you have in your project, the longer your build time is. But I mean, a small build time increase compared to like always having a better like runtime or editor speed, it's worth it. But basically, like the behavior graph has to like use like the type catch stuff. The state machine API does not. That's why it's going to be a lot faster and better. If you guys want, I can come back to like the ecosystem stuff. It's like cloud and AI, or sorry, the cloud and ad stuff. Yay, my favorite thing. Again, do know some of this is already usable, like the core CLR. Let me actually close out some of these stuff. I'm gonna actually, while I'm showing this slide off, I'll actually open another project. Multi-threaded allocator is going to be a huge thing. Oh, I should open up the other project. If people were here for earlier where I showed how to spawn 131,000 enemies. So for people that weren't here at the start stream, I showed off how to spawn 131,000 enemies without a 0 frame drop. That's actually using this API. I've actually used the multi-threaded allocator API as well to create some wild stuff. All right, let's actually, I'm going to close out of like a couple of these other stuff, just like while we're going. That way I can actually like show you the newer slides. Because I have like I had like 3 projects open and like several different things. So let's actually do this. One second, this is actually related to what I'm about to show off. And yes, I am recreating like old Legend of Zelda games. But yeah, so hierarchy support for NTs. If anybody's using NT component system right now, Unity 6.6 already shows them inside the scene. Oh, I love how it just auto opens up that like thing. The multi-threaded allocator part, if anybody doesn't know too much about it, before I show this, I'm going to show you guys a setting. Do not change it if you do not know about it. I'm warning you right now. The setting I'm about to show you, Unity even gives you a warning whenever you change this setting in project settings. If you do it wrong, you can blue screen your operating system. So be warned. Enjoy what I'm about to show you, but don't follow suit. I know it sounds weird, but it's also important to know what this is, because even if you don't change a setting, you use this setting, and this actually affects your project's performance by a lot without you realizing it. So for those that weren't here before, I'll show this real quick, just to show off that thing. 131,000 enemies spawn. They actually have a pathfinding system. I'm just having them pathfind to a center patrol point, but only 3 draw calls. Lighting and shadow actually work if I had like actual lighting and stuff. I think I might have like lighting currently like disabled for this set. Yeah, okay, I did. I was just making sure because I actually had a reason. I was testing out rendering. But 131,000 enemies spawn. The secret behind that is actually this new multi-threader allocator. So again, what I'm about to show, don't change the setting unless you want to pull your hair out. There's actually Unity forum post on like actual Unity like discussion pages where one of the lead developers on the Unity engine said, please don't do this, because I actually was showing how to do it inside a forum. There's a thing here called memory settings. Fast thread share temporarily allocators and fast per thread temporarily allocators. You'll see there's one for editor, one for player. Basically, what the multi thread allocator setting is like before, whenever doing allocations using native collections, was it just rebanded for Unite to make a hive like? Oh no, there was actually a new feature showed off that was not shown in like the. Also, hello, Annie Rex. So yeah, so Unity 7 is 6.8 with even more features that were not mentioned before, and I have actually used some of those features. So like I actually know there's a lot of features that were not. For anybody wondering, like between 6.8 and now being renamed into Unity 6.7, some of the new features was like going to be like this one, physics integration, the new animation windows. For anybody that wasn't here earlier for my rant, there is a new animation window. This actually was shown inside the slides, but people were complaining, saying, "Where's the new animation tools?" There is it coming in. This was originally supposed to be Unity 7, but they kind of just finished it early for this new state machine API. So I have no comment on what you just said, Annie Reacts, for the toolkit on the white bar, because I don't know if the decision that I'm thinking about was reverted or actually pushed through. There is a possibility you might not have to suffer through that white bar, but I don't know if they decide to go fully that route. I'll have to ask. But there might be operating system specific UI stuff. I don't know if that was gone through or not. So I really can't say yes or no to that, but there is a possibility. But anyways, multi-thread allocator. For if anybody's used native collections, let me actually like open up the render batch sprite thing. If anybody's ever used like a native list and stuff like that, but that's not the same script. That's my that's actually the deformation I was talking about. Also, if anybody was wondering, when I was talking about like deforming a tire sprite based on physics, yeah, this is actually the sprite blend API that I was talking about, where you can actually like deform a sprite for like a car tire into the physics. So let's go down here. Where is it? Okay, yeah, allocator persistent. So whenever you're working with like native collections and stuff, I love you, JetBrains Writer. My computer is like, why are you opening so many projects? But the allocator persistent and allocator, I'm actually going to copy this just so you guys can see. The temp job thing here. The temp job allocator, stuff like that. That is what this setting is. The job allocator block size and fast thread share temporary allocators. This is actually the memory block size for temp job allocation. So this like memory settings is actually the size of like your allocator blocks for like temp job, temp, and persistent, stuff like that. The feature that like Unity's been talking about multi-threading here, whenever allocators were set, they actually were set mostly on the main thread and were blocked. So like whenever you created a native collection and they had to assign like the allocators like for like the native collections, it was all done mostly on the main thread. So there's actually a performance loss during that frame where you're creating like setting up allocators and stuff. And basically with the multi-threaded allocator thing, that's no longer an issue. You'll notice like in 6.5 and 6.6, if your project has a lot of native collections, there's a huge difference in performance during the initialization of like collections. Modern logging, that's the .NET logging tool that is coming. Dictionary serialization, do I have a project with that? Yeah, I do. I do have a project with that. Gotta hate how many projects I have to open up. Dictionary serialization, that's already a thing. Do you know certain class types are not able to be serialized as of 6.6, but those limitations will actually be completely removed once they finish the serialization modernization. Yes, serialization is finally being updated. I'm not kidding, guys. Performance, like a lot of people complain about like sometimes Unity performance whenever you compile. A lot of the performance hits from like saving, changing code is from either domain reload or like having to deserialize and reserialize values in the editor. The serialization modernization thing is gonna improve performance as well, like just even out of like domain. Yo, I wonder if that's gonna change YAML file, like YAML file layout. For anybody that's wondering, like your meta files, like let's actually grab this real quick. I'm gonna actually show this off. Because I want to try to like show off everything as like detailed as possible. Your meta files, so I'm gonna grab here. I'm gonna grab this. Let's actually grab like a scene. Actually, yeah, let's grab a scene meta file real quick because I think that would actually be the best one for this. So if I actually go to a scene real quick, yeah, let's grab this folder instead. My computer hates me. It's like, why are you punishing me? Yeah, let's do this. Okay. There we go. Oh, I accidentally grabbed meta file. I was meaning the actual like Unity scene file. This is YAML. All this data is like data that's serialized. All of it. This is like whenever you like change, like fun fact, okay, if you change something in a script, Unity actually unloads the C# object. So like, and then sets its default values. During the unloading phase, it'll actually keep track of the values you set inside the inspector, inside of your scene file, or inside a prefab file if it's a value on a prefab. Whenever you finish compiling your script after you save and update it, then Unity takes whatever is saved inside this file and puts it back into the recreated class. So like if I change this value into the inspector and save it in scene to like 4.5, I update code, this gets cleaned back to 1.5, and then when the code is done compiling, it regrabs the data here that I set to 4.5 and changes to 1.5 to 4.5. That's part of the serialization stuff. This is going to be a lot better performance. Like a lot of your wait time is suffering for serialization. So Unity 7 is going to be change stuff. I do wonder if like this is going to change like I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't. As far as I can tell, it hasn't done anything. I'm currently in core CLR right now, like in a Unity 6.7 with core CLR. As far as I can tell, inside of Git, when I update it, there was no like serialization position changes, because I was kind of worried at first, like when they updated the serializer, if there's actually going to be something like any of the like data files serialized, if there's actually going to be something inside of like a YAML file format change. For those wondering why that would suck, it would basically make it where if you have like version control, your Git file would say every freaking file in the project would change, which you can imagine would suck. But yeah. You can start seeing, so some of the stuff has already been improved in like 6.6. 6.6 has some improvements. 6.7 had a lot of improvements already. Some of those initial startup time changes is actually because of a new system for the artifacts. So I'm going to actually open up, let me actually go to here. So let's actually go up into a project real quick. For answering the will startup times actually be improved? If you notice inside your Unity projects, you have a library folder. Inside of the library folder, you have your B, and there's a lot of artifacts. So these artifacts like keep track of certain data things and stuff like that. Whenever you're like opening up Unity, like you're opening up the project file, depending on what you're what you did in your project, it actually has to read all the artifacts and stuff inside your library. That's why, like, if anybody says like you're having issues with your Unity project opening or something, they say nuke your library folder. That's actually why, because if you actually and I would also do this if you change Unity to Unity, like a major Unity version, delete your library folder and then open it up in a new version. Or actually, I would open it up in a new version, then like possibly clear your library folder. What that does is whenever you like open up in new Unity, it will rebuild the library and have the updated files. Just be careful. Some data you have inside of Unity is actually saved inside the library file. So like certain like property like settings for like search indexes, if you have any like custom like search indexes and stuff and you didn't save it inside of your actual like asset folder, you might get nuked as well. But they redid how the asset database saves artifacts. Artifacts should have a lower file size, so your project actually should have a lower file size, and also it should load faster. Actually, I can actually demonstrate that as well. If you're inside of Unity's like hub, you'll see the little sizing. Depending on what you're doing, you might not see it with the current version of Unity 6.7, but if you actually turn a project from like, let's say 6.3 to 6.7, you might notice that the size changed a little bit. Most of the time, the size actually shows only assets and stuff. Actually, you know what? This won't show it. The reason why is because they made it where this actually excludes the library folder specifically for that reason. But I'm going to just say yes, it is going to be an increase in project time. And also increase in like creating new projects. Yeah. So the asset database first started getting an update in 6.6, and you can already start seeing some stuff. I'll also drop a link in chat about that because they actually have a forum page going over this. The reason why I'm talking about this or like gonna go ahead and like show this page is because they actually removed older API, and if anybody's using like some of the older API or stuff, like you might update to a new version of Unity and you might get like errors and like some of your stuff might not work. Oh no, they didn't pin the freaking, okay, they did not pin the forum discussion post. Okay, yeah, they actually did not pin the forum post. I will try to find that. There's actually a forum post that they actually talk about everything. Depending on what you're doing, some people have seen like 25 to 30% increase in just like speed of opening a project. All right, here, just for a second, I'm going to just see if I can actually find that real quick. All right, come on, Edge. It should be inside. I think they actually put inside the breaking changes. Yeah, I think that's, okay, that might be why I couldn't find it earlier. I think they actually fused inside the breaking changes part. So let's actually go here. Oh, they, yeah, okay, well, they only go over part of it. There is like a huge change in like how artifacts and stuff are actually created. I'll have to find like where they put it on the forum post. There is actually like a dedicated post for it. They just don't have it pinned, unfortunately. That kind of sucks. Yeah. All right, well, anyways. But yeah, so Unity 7 does have the entities for all part, so you'll be able to use your game object code like normal, but there'll be like entity backing it. Some of the performance I've seen is just funnily different, even compared to like core CLR right now. So like if I were to build like if I were to like just go here and just show this off, like I'll make a core CLR build right now. just so people can see it and show. Okay, so we have core CLR selected, right? Okay, so you can see here, scripting backend core CLR. I'm gonna actually make a build. I want to show this off real quick. This is actually kind of funny. When making like a core CLR build, I have burst compile code in it. This is very important to know for anybody that's using burst compiler. Well, that's actually building. Well, I'll go back here. Wanted to mention like for the entities and like the core CLR stuff. Some of the stuff you see in 6.7 is actually not going to be as fast as you can see it. Oh god, actually just automatically open. There we go. I'll open up the build folder and show you guys the core CLR thing in a second. But do you know, like 6.7 and Unity 7 will have a major change in the core CLR. Right now, core CLR does not have burst compatibility. So the performance updates right now is already really great with core CLR in 6.7, but it'll actually jump a crap ton if you have burst compiled code or if you're using entity component code inside Unity 7. So 6.7 core CLR is not at the highest performance that you should be expecting in the future. Unity 7 will have a huge increase in performance even compared to like core CLR and Unity 6.6, 6.7. Yeah, sorry, ADHD, fun times. But yeah, do you know the core CLR will have like .NET 10 and like the editor. You can already use like core CLR for like player builds, but you can't just do it in editor. You have to wait until like the editor is done for like official support for .NET 10 and C# language 14 features. So that'll be Unity 7. I say official because again, you could do a CSC file, if I remember right, and actually tell the Roslyn compiler to just say, hey, Unity 6.7 uses C# language 14. But you can actually just tell Unity right now to just use C# 14. Do you know you'll have the C# language 14 features in 6.7 if you do add the CSC file for like your assembly, but you won't have the .NET features because C# 10 is a separate feature set from .NET 10. Just remember that. Roslyn compiler is the C# compiler. .NET is its own thing. You can just .NET just does a lot more than C#. So you can do like some newer C# features, but for like .NET 10 specific features, you will have to wait for like Unity 7. Also, screw Mono. Screw Mono. No offense, Mono should have died a long time ago. It was a good it was good at its time. It's just and like. If we had the current version of Mono, there is a new actual like Mono that's separate from Unity because the company actually took over the Mono project and they actually released a major update like 2 weeks ago. If we had that version of Mono, that'd be kind of cool, but no. Yeah. Oh, hot reloading. Yes, that is an important feature. For people that don't know, I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier. You can change your code without like having to like exit play mode, and it actually updates in real time. So let's say you're playing a code and you ran into a bug, you can change the code, fix that bug without having to hit play mode again or rebuild. You can actually connect Unity in to a build, like actual build on a device even. I can actually have a video of that. I can actually show that. I actually have a video of that that I can show where you can have a Android build being tested on your phone, and like you can actually like change code from Unity editor and actually have the build while playing update with the code to test out bug fixes without ever leaving play mode or without like having to rebuild the game. Let me actually get like that video. That is actually really cool. I'll try to timestamp it real quick. Yeah, I'll grab a timestamp for that. Whoops. Oh no, I need to turn off notifications. That was actually Unity Dev. That was actually like the Unity Dev team that just messaged me. Do you ignore that notification? I swear. Okay, I actually gotta turn off notifications real quick, guys, because I don't need like a There we go. Yeah, let's just grab that notification. Yeah. I do not know why that notification popped up because notification is already turned off. Let me see. Where is this? Oh, actually, I sent this video to someone in a private message with timestamp. Oh, I was way off on that timestamp. But I'll also put this inside of like a chat with this timestamp so you guys can actually see it. But basically, like during the Soul event, like they actually showed off this is what I was meaning. Like, so he has the phone with actual build, and notice that it's not like actual dev build. There's actually ways to just send code updates to a running build on a device without connecting it by like a cord or anything. So like for example, like they showed off like the hot reload where like there should be like the jump one should make it like the most obvious. Oh yeah, here you go. So like he was showing off how like you can only do like certain like double jumps at a height, but you can actually like edit the code and change like the height values at runtime. It's a whole ordeal, but yeah. So there is like hot reloading. I don't know why I forgot about that one. I'll actually put that in chat. If people are curious about. Do you know the Keynote doesn't show as much as what I'm like the entire like roadmap, which I thought was funny. The actual PDF file has a lot more stuff in it. But there's a timestamp if anybody's kind of curious about it. Graphics, oh yeah, huge thing. The graphics thing, deprecation started in 6.5. You should already see a warning about like built-in render pipeline. They did say in Unity 7, there was a message where they said basically they're only going to there should be like no breaking changes from Unity 6 cycle to to the 7 cycle. The thing is, they didn't clarify that was breaking changes from 6.7 or 6 to 7, which I was like, that has to be 6.7. Reason why that matters is if they if they remove the built-in render pipeline post like 6.7 cycle, and that wouldn't be counting as a breaking change for Unity 7. So it could be Unity 7 might have built-in render pipeline or might not have built-in render pipeline. I've sent a message asking for clarity on that as well. So I don't know how, like, I don't know, do you know, I'm not being given, no, I almost said something, almost accidentally broke NDI on stream. So hot reload asset now being obsolete. It depends on like features. You got to realize like a lot of like some features and stuff might still be better than like the built-in thing. It's just a lot of the stuff that's in like Unity 7 again relies on a different API. So hot reload, like if you try to use the asset in Unity 7, it might not work at all. I don't know like what all API they're planning on removing, and the reason why I say I'm not sure if it'll I mean if the dev updates it, it'll work. But my main thing is like, okay, so we have our on initialize or our initialize like on load right, and currently initialize on load method. I haven't used that in a long time. I've been using like on code initialize and on code like deinitializing. Ever since 6.5 came out, I've literally switched to those. I do not know if the on or like the initialize on load methods are going to be removed in 6.7 or 7. And the reason why I said that is because you're technically supposed to be replacing them with like on code deinitializing, on code initializing, stuff like that. If they do remove the initialize on load stuff in either 6.7 or 7, which I'm assuming they probably will, because the editor will be core CLR and only the on code initializing is fully like CRR or core CLR ready. So they might actually remove like on initialize on load, on initialize on load method. Any asset that uses those, broken. Any asset. But the devs would just have to, like the creator of the asset would just have to update it. So but they might have like different features that Unity doesn't have inside their hot reload thing. So it might not be outdated, it might be outdated. It depends on like you as a customer. Is there a feature in there that is worth it for you? But yeah. Anyways, render thing. So universal render pipeline going forward. No offense, this should have happened a lot sooner. I know there are a lot of people that are using the built-in render pipeline, but as someone that has seen the freaking engine code, and yes, I actually had like at one point I actually worked for a company. We actually had like the actual like source code, like a license to source code. As someone that has seen the source code for the actual engine, built-in render pipeline should have been removed a long time ago. It definitely has held back development for the render system. Like if they would have removed this a long time ago, the URP would have been like a lot like they would have added new features a lot sooner. Like I really wish they would have like in Unity like 6.3 just gone like URP and HDRP instead of like waiting to do it later. But yeah, so universal render pipeline is the only thing going forward. HDRP, as far as I understood, will still be supported for like Unity 7, but don't quote me on that. They might. I have asked messages, like I said, getting clarity on both those. So they might be deprecated, but not removed. So basically, no new features, no bug fixes and stuff. They might still be in Unity 7, but they won't get anything. I'm going to be honest. For the sake of going forward for Unity, HDRP and built-in render pipeline needs to just be removed in Unity 7. It's a lot of lines of code. People may be like, why remove them? The built-in render pipeline is literally still injected into Unity editor even if you have URP. When you make a build, it doesn't like it's not in your build, but it's still in the editor itself. That way, if like you remove the URP package, it still has some way of rendering stuff. So in editor, you have both built-in render pipeline and URP. But when you actually make a build, you just have URP. If they would have removed the built-in render pipeline and they just put URP instead, you wouldn't have two renderers inside of your editor. And that slows down the editor a lot. Not only does it slow down the editor, there's a lot of like offset bug features that they needed. Surface sketch global illumination. It's basically a really fast, I do mean really fast, indirect global illumination. No baking, no UV offering. Basically what that means is like, I'll actually pull up the video of that as well. Let me actually pull up the video. Basically what it means is like, imagine you have like a flashlight and you're in a dark area. The flashlight can do real-time indirect lighting on the environment while updating like the environment, and you don't have to set probes. There's no light map baking, nothing. And in some cases, you can actually get better performance than baking. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and I actually have videos that I'm pulling up right now for you guys just to show you off. It also has a built-in sky system, built-in fog system. Yeah, we have a sky system now. We have a fog system. Also, I'll pull those up so you guys can see videos of that. But here's some videos of it. So like, see how like as the door open, the light actually like bounces off like the metal frame here. Let's actually like go in. Notice how the light kind of bounces off the metal frame here, and you have proper like SSAO and stuff as like the door open. This is the new system, and it's very high performance. You could do this on like a phone. Like that is how good the performance is. It literally can do like high-end lighting on like phones, and it's URP. Like this is just straight up URP right now. Do note this is actually available right now already. The first set of features, like what I just showed, is like here's the flashlight thing I was talking about. So you see how like right here like let me pause, see if I can get like the frame. I'm gonna have to like try to pause for a certain frame. So you notice how like we have a reflective surface here. I don't know how bad YouTube is like compressing this, but when the flashlight is actually getting to the surface on the rocks here, you can see kind of like a cosmic effect that's caused from like the indirect lighting from the flashlight bouncing off the corner of the metal, and you can see it starting to like light up stuff. That's the new feature that's being talked about here. No baking, no nothing. Really good performance. I'm talking really good performance. Also, if anybody's curious about this, like I said, I'm trying to share as much resources as possible. Day and night lights. Yeah, day and night cycle system. Yay. You can do something like that. There's a really cool rain scene. Let me actually see if I can find a rain scene. I'll find a rain scene in a second, but there's a night rain scene where like they're using like the global illumination from actual like street lights to reflect off the water puddles in real time with no baking, and it's like just beautiful performance. Shout out to Sakura Rabbit. For anybody that doesn't know who Sakura Rabbit is, they are a Unity dev that creates some of the most amazing tech demos for shaders, and they publish them so people can use them. Like I'm not sure if they published this hangar scene yet, but they actually published their scenes and you can literally just grab them and learn from them. I'm talking like Sakura Rabbit has like some of the craziest like shader stuff you can just pull down. Like I'm talking like turning a desert into forest with a matrix style like distortion. So like in real time, like there's a demo where you walk through desert and it turns into a forest and like trees grow, grasses grow. They just have that project you could download for learning. Thank you, Sakura Rabbit. You're amazing dev. Just saying. Shout out to them. But yeah, also it does support dynamic geometry meshes and stuff like that. So if I remember right, if you like actually do like indirect instancing, so like you're actually directly doing an indirect mesh generation, it should support that as well. And also has, so you can see like this is when the feature is off. You can see like the sun, the bouncing is actually coming from the outside sun. So like when the feature is off, you don't get like that like indirect bounce lighting. When the feature is on, the sun actually will come through, bounce off the metal, and you can actually see like a lot of the reflections. And they actually added like a fish filter with more bloom, so you can actually see like with post processing. And you can even start seeing, we do have screen space reflections. I think that will come this week, 2 days from now. Let me check actually Unity Hub. It might actually, yeah, 2 days from now. It should be 2 days from now. So like the new screen space reflections should be, there might already be a version of it in 6.7 actually. Wait, I have 6.7 and Core CL are already open. I don't only have, I think I only have like a, I only have like 2D projects open. I do have a 3D project. Yeah, I'll have to see there. But there's screen space reflections for, and again, this is all URP. Oh yeah, the ground truth ambient occlusion, GTAO. It is it's an improved like algorithm for screen space ambient occlusion. I'm going to be honest, I'm lacking in information on how GTAO does. Like some of the technical specifics behind it, I know some of it. But I'm going to be fully honest, I don't know enough to talk about it without maybe leading people down the wrong like pathway. So sorry guys, I think it's just basically a new like a improved ambient occlusion formula if you want to know a little bit about it. Physical light units, this is actually part of the day and night cycle system that I mentioned. So yes, day and night cycle system, you can do that inside Unity 7. This is actually Unity 7, this is not Unity 6. One of the biggest updates from 6.7 to Unity 7 is the new lighting system. It actually supports like photometric units. Hey, Zivatrix, yes, I actually already went over them, but like I said, if anybody in chat wants me to go back over something, if they missed, I can go over them. There's actually a huge set of updates for UGUI that actually is coming out this week. And Unity 7, they actually will keep UGUI for Unity 7 with a complete new render, like a UI Toolkit and UGUI is going to have an entire new render pipeline, so new rendering capabilities. Basically, SRP batching, new lighting. I don't know if I saw the project, I might have deleted it, but I downloaded one of the samples for UI Toolkit. It had like liquid like physics inside like a glass bottle. It was UI though, it was a UI. And light actually diffused through the actual like glass UI in the like liquid, so it was a glass skull with blood, and it was just a UI element. That was UI Toolkit, but you could do the same thing in UGUI. I mentioned when I was first talking about this, the more layout options. I'm sorry, I don't know if I should say what those are yet. I pretty sure I know what they are, but I don't know if I should mention them yet. I don't want to say something and then like accidentally cause like issue for like the UI devs be like, no, we're not making this feature, but I'm pretty sure I know what they are. Advanced texture generation backend for Text Mesh Pro, basically RTL support. Better, there's a updated animation system for both UI Toolkit and UGUI. Do you know UI Toolkit already has the animation system in it right now? Scene offering, for anybody that wasn't here earlier, I'll go ahead and like show this. So in scene offering, you have a UI viewport thing. This is not the UI builder, this is UI viewport. If you actually go to UI Toolkit, standard elements, you can see like, okay, I got it here. It's built-in layout stuff. It may seem close to UI builder, but this is actually using the scene hierarchy. I'm just having this open up inside UI viewport. This will actually be like the UI viewport will actually show over in scene view. That's not in the current alpha yet. Like the in scene offering and animation, like editing the UI toolkit inside the scene view is not in the current alpha. It should be. It could be a couple weeks, but you'll be able to actually edit like UI toolkit elements inside the scene view. For now, you can use the UI viewport, and it already has a lot more features compared to UI builder, like debugging features, animation tools. Do you know the animation tools and the UI viewport is available in 6.6, so that's already public. If anybody's wondering, just make sure you're using a panel renderer. The UI document. Okay, so I do have the NDA on some stuff. I mean, I literally have some and I don't know how much I'm allowed to say on some of this. It's more of not like NDA. It's more of like I don't like some information has changed, and I don't have enough information about a feature. I don't want to actually say like, okay, this feature does this, but it's actually something else behind the scenes. So it's more of like I don't want to accidentally say like give wrong information on a couple things that I don't know like fully about. But if you're also Zivitix, are you wanting to know anything about the like graph toolkit and the new state machine setup? That I can show. Again, I'll go back over just in case like some people were here. I can actually open up. I actually have this project, like the project that was shown at Unite. I actually have that. Like I can actually open that and demo that off right now. So I actually have like this entire project. I'll actually open it up. Let me close. I'm trying to limit to like how many projects I have open to only like 2. I'll go ahead and open this back up if people are curious. State Machine API, like I said, I'm going to make an entire video showing that off. But for people that enjoy like the Graph Toolkit, yes, we have a State Machine system coming. Shader Graph and Visual Effects Graph should be updated on that or like to that. You know what? I can actually say that. I don't. Let me actually go here. Oh wait, wrong one. Let's open up GitHub's, or let's go to Unity. Let's actually open up. Yes, this is actually the actual C# GitHub for Unity, like Unity's actual Unity C# reference. Okay, yeah, no, it's not. It hasn't been published. If anybody's curious, you can literally see the C# updates in Unity on a per change thing. So you can actually like see like what all features are like changed inside C#. I was gonna see if I'm gonna check one thing real quick just for before I say what I'm about to say, because I think it's actually next week that's coming out. Oh my god, why is it all the way down? Modules, projects. Actually, it should be inside modules, and it should be down inside Graph Toolkit Editor. Yes. Okay, it is. Okay, it's already public. Okay, it is already public. And yes, this is literally just like Unity's GitHub repo. I am. Thank you, Unity, by the way. Unity actually made this public, so like anybody can literally go into the actual like C# side of like their repos and actually see stuff. I was wanting to see like if they actually did already add the state tools. Yes, they did. Okay, cool. So this is already in the public version of Unity 6.7. So there is actually a State Machine API that you can actually do to create your own custom like tools. It could be scene flow logic, database loading logic. I showed off earlier like how I was working on a Elden Ring style combo system with it. So basically, like you can actually, and it has built-in debugging. Okay, I think Unity opened up, so we can actually like show this off. Yeah, there we go. Let's show this off. All right, so here we go. So for people that were not here earlier, some of this is in 6.6, some of it's in 6.7. Oh, I got to scroll all the way over. You'll notice that we have a animation for the actual graph tool, and there's actually like a built-in like debugging for the graph tool. So I can actually go through and I can actually like debug my graph. And it's not just like a dialogue thing. You could do it for like a reason why they added this is like shader graph. Whenever shader graph gets put into the graph toolkit foundation, you will be able to step through your shader graph and see where you messed up. That's actually very huge for people that like shader graph. Same thing with VFX graph, but I don't think it'll be as useful for VFX graph. But this is actually like some of the features come for like the UI toolkit and graph style stuff. Can we make big behavior trees for it with characters? Yes. Yes. You can do it like I said, I'm working on the Elden Ring's combo system. Basically, like the idea is like, okay, you have a graph tree that actually shows like if I do a light attack into light attack, it does this combo, or light attack into heavy attack and does this combo. You can do a lot of stuff. The State Machine API is very lightweight, but it's very customizable, and it's just really going to make life a lot easier, especially for, like I said, whenever they implement into shader graph too. But yeah, it should still be in chat if anybody's curious about this. This project is downloadable. Like you can actually download this project. This specific project is actually public. If you, I think it's like oh wait, did I never? I don't think I actually put the link to this one inside of the chat. I thought I did. All right, well, I'll put a link to this. I'll put a link into the instruction page. Oh yeah, I did. Okay, well, it's like in the middle, so I'll go ahead and just like put this here. If anybody's kind of curious and want to see like the new graph toolkit stuff, you do need 6.6 for most of this. If you're wanting to check out the State Machine API, you have to have 6.7. So you'll have to like use the alpha if you want to check out this stuff. But Zivatrix, I don't know if that like answers any of your questions on like UGUI or UI toolkit changes. There's also some visual effect filters is already inside of 6.6, but more are coming in 6.7. Trying to think if there's like anything else. Oh, yeah, no. I think that's pretty much like the huge thing for UI. Let's go back down to here. Yeah, so behavior tree. Okay, do know the State Machine API is completely different from behavior package, and in my opinion is a lot better. So the thing about I'm sorry for anybody that's been in this chat since the very beginning. You guys might hear me like repeat things just to like update people that weren't here earlier. The difference between the behavior package and the State Machine, Unity has this thing called type catch. For anybody that doesn't know, whenever you like add anything, a class, a struct, or anything inside your files, Unity, whenever it compiles your code, adds them to this type catch. The type catch is basically reflection. It's to kind of help, well, it kind of helps you avoid reflection during like constant use of whatever you're using. The behavior graph uses a lot of reflection. And a lot of like accessing the type catch and stuff like that. And the reason why that's annoying is because that's actually like goes into like C++, C#. Like I can literally just go into Unity's internals and I can like show, and it's really crappy performance for builds. There is a huge performance difference between writing out your code and then using the behavior graph, and it's that. The State Machine API doesn't deal with type catching or reflection. Because of that, you can completely avoid that huge performance issue that you run into with the behavior graph. So there will be a performance difference between the State Machine API and the behavior tree package. Do know And also it affects your build times. Like the behavior package will also affect your build times because it's literally having to dynamically create like the code for your C# and stuff behind the scenes. Where the state machine API, you just have the code. You don't need to like convert YAML data assets, which is what a scriptable object is. It's just a YAML data asset, and convert that into code. Use that code to actually create the generated behavior code. It goes far. So state machine API, if you actually implement it, as long as you don't do it weirdly, it should have a lot of better performance. Keyword should be. Another thing to note, going back to, and again, if anybody has any questions, just feel free to ask. I'll try my best to tell people. Another thing note, going back to like where we were earlier with the new photo lighting system. Yes, we have a new fog system and a new sky system. There is a video. Unity actually did a video showcasing the sky, like the night sky and lighting system. They didn't have the fog though. Also, the fog dynamically reacts. So like in this video here, where we were showing off the new surface catch system with no baking, no light map baking. If we were to add fog here, the flashlight would diffuse and actually get like separated and actually like be refracted and messed up because of the fog. So like with the new surface catch like system, it would actually make it where the fog would distort like light given off by like flashlights and bounced off metal stuff. And yeah, it's really nice. It's really good too. And again, URP. This is shader compilation. Yes, we have DXC. Finally, DXC. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Unity has been using a very old, well, not very old, I mean, since closer around like when DX12 first came out, Unity has been using a old version of direct shader compiler for DX12, DX11. Where Unity has already started moving some stuff over in 6.6, and we're going to be getting a DXC shader compilator. I don't know if it's going to be this week or a few weeks, but it is going to be 6.7. It can lower your shader compilation count 90%. Like your build, like shader, if you have a lot of shader variants, not just from like shader graph, like just like hand coded shaders, you're going to see a huge improvement on build time and performance because it's going to create a better shader. If anybody's ever heard of like the you know, like shader like hiccups and stuff, like whenever you like enter a new area or scene and like your project has to like warm up shaders and stuff, this will almost eliminate that hiccup. So like if you're going from an inside building and entering into a open area for a open world game, and your shaders have to compile and you have that little like fun times, this could eliminate all of it possibly. I mean, it depends on how big of a world you have, but it will definitely improve it to the point where your players will definitely enjoy it on lower end hardware. Do know it's not just a performance improvement, it's new features. Shader Model 6 and higher. We will get the new shader feature, like HLSL features. And do know, even though it's called Direct, like even though DXC is a shader compiler for DirectX, it supports Spear V, Metal, so Mac devices. It supports Vulkan and so forth. So the DXC shader compiler actually just compiles to multiple things needed for Mac, Android devices, web GPU. I don't know if Unity is actually going to just use only DXC shader compiler and not care about any other compiler. That I don't know. There could be a future where Unity just forgoes other compilers that they don't need for shader compilation and be able to just use DXC. That is a thing. You could see like Unity install sizes decrease because they no longer need all those different compilers for shaders. They're starting it, the feature is only going to be DX12 supported for now, keyword for now, but again, it will actually support Metal and like for Mac and web GPU, stuff like that. Pre-catch shader is what I was talking about with like eliminating the open world thing. They actually do have a demo, like an actual like a sample scene. And if you actually go to that sample scene, I don't know if that's public yet, so I don't know if we can show it here, but it should be within a couple of weeks. But there's actually like a sample scene, like little like house and stuff. And you can tell the difference. There's actually a difference from going inside the house to outside. There is a noticeable difference in performance. Yeah, you can even see basically what it'll do is like for anybody wondering like where you'll see this setting. If I actually go here inside of project settings, and you can even see this. So this is the like this is a project that already has like a core CLR. Like I can go to core CLR. This was just like the Graph Toolkit sample. Basically what it'll be is like right here where you have your graphics API in an upcoming update. Like I said, I don't know if it's this week or if it's going to be in a few weeks, but it will be the Unity 6.7 where you set your graphics API stuff. You'll also be able to choose your compiler. And again, it will add a lot of new features. I think they're actually planning on backporting. Yeah, they are. They're going to backport some of this to 6.6. So even 6.6 beta will possibly get this before it goes out of beta. Yeah, faster build times. For anybody that's worked on a bigger project and like had to like build towards Switch 2 or like Switch 1 or PlayStation 5, you probably have suffered through a crap ton of build time for like stripping shaders and stuff. That way like your build that you send to either PlayStation or Nintendo is like as small as possible. I'm not kidding. I've had to do like a Switch 1 project and it took like 2.5 hours per build for the Switch 2. And the shader compilation was 60% of that. It was bad. So definitely, basically, this is going to be another thing that's going to make your builds a lot faster. I don't want to talk about like machine learning or AI on this stream too much. One, I don't have enough information about it, and two, I really don't like using AI and stuff a lot. I like to do stuff by hand because I like to learn and get into technical stuff. But for anybody who's curious, there is a neural texture compression. This might be one of the few things that I might actually agree with AI on if they implement it correctly. It's basically if anybody's ever used like a texture or like a texture mask, it basically like can take like your normal map, your ambient occlusion map, and your albedo map and put it into a single texture. Unity already had that for HDRP, and basically you have like 6 textures in one texture. So you literally go from like you literally like decrease the file size for a texture by like 5/6, which obviously can be a very good thing. As far as I understand with neural texture compression, it kind of does that, but it basically tries to find like areas of like a texture that has like common pixel ratios for like colors and stuff, and it compresses into format that can be very quickly decompressed even at runtime for like networks and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know too much about this. I'm gonna be honest, so I'm probably not gonna get it. I know they're making a demo and you'll get it soon, but yeah. Trying to say multiple devices. Oh yeah, WebGPU actually is. I love how they set WebGPU as production ready as soon as WebAssembly got like burst compiled support, because like you can actually use like burst and stuff in like web builds now. The progressive asset loading. Earlier I was talking about like there's going to be an update to like Unity 6.6 already had some of this where like the asset database that creates like artifacts and stuff was like changed. The web is getting a similar like asset loading stuff. I think there's already a setting. Actually, you know what? This is actually already available in 6.7. If you actually go, like, if you're on a web build, like down here near the bottom, there should be where it has like use Bigtable like information, or if you use like the current like modern like WebAssembly for like multi-threading, there should be an option for that already in Unity 6.7 Alpha 2. I actually remember testing that out. Warning. If you're using like WebGPU and Web GL builds and stuff like that, if you're somebody that likes to like put projects on itch.io for testing, itch.io has to have like the header support for whatever feature you're doing. So like for example, if you're trying to do like WebGPU and stuff like that, if you just do like the default settings, you your project might not work on itch.io. You have to change like the header. Same thing with progressive asset loading. You might have to change like a header thing, or websites like itch, you might have to wait for them to actually support that, or like add it to the asset header for like web builds. Just heads up. Now, if you're actually like hosting your own web build, okay, that's something you can easily do on your side. And that's kind of like the most of like the bulk thing for actually like what's on engine. There's some stuff inside here that was not actually, or stuff that was released in the Unity 6.6 and 6.7 that was actually not mentioned in those notes, which is kind of funny. For example, they didn't mention like the sprite blending might actually be the new part of the new, well, I know it's part of the new animation system. But I also noticed they didn't mention like some of the new resources entity stuff for like APIs. Like let's see if I can go here. Let's go to Spawn Wave Controller. I can actually show off what I mean here, because I was actually doing tests. If anybody's ever, I love how JetBrains Writer opened up the previous script and not the current script I'm actually trying to open. There we go. Yeah, here we go. I can actually show this off. If anybody's wondering, this is part of the something I was going to do to actually improve the performance of like the demo where I have like 100,000 enemies spawning. Let's actually see where, because I'm actually calling that method, if I remember right, it should be somewhere in, yeah, here it is. Cool. There should be like some API and stuff. I do know, even though it says entity ID, I'm actually using this for game objects. This is something you can already do. I know this actually been backported, but some of the stuff that I noticed that was not mentioned inside of like that actual like PDF file, I'm actually going to start closing stuff because that's pretty much into that PDF file. Some of the new stuff is including like a better like game object instantiation systems. For anybody that, when people like are spawning like game objects, like let's say you have like 10 enemies, like for example here we have a spawn wave system. Basically, I'm spawning a different set of enemies and so forth. Some people might see like, okay, have a value called like int amount or something, like how many enemies to spawn equals 10 or so forth. Some people might do like a for loop here. This is actually like one of the really good features that has been added. And they might say like game object dot instantiate, something like that, right? And you know, you put your settings and stuff there. Oh, let's not get political in here, buddy. Dope. Sorry, someone in chat said, went on like a political message. I'm not even gonna say what my stance on that comment is. But yeah, so for anybody, like some people might do it this way. You have like your game object instantiate, and you might have like a native array of transform handles. So let's do like transform handle. I'm going to be doing like actual like API examples now. And if anybody wants me like pull up API and actually show how to use one of the new features mentioned, I can actually just show how to do some of the new features mentioned, because I do have access to some of them and I can actually show some of them off right now. But I was just going to show this. I'm going to just say handles equals new. I figured I'd show this real quick. I'm going to just say amount. I'm going to say allocator, let's say temp. Some people might do it this way. They might actually go here and this is to spawn a crap ton of like enemies at once. I'm only doing 10 just for example. But if you're ever doing like, Vampire Survivor, we're actually gonna use Vampire Survivor. Some of the new stuff that you can do with starting in Unity 6.6 is with the multi-thread allocator, which we actually went over inside of the Unity 7 roadmap. It talked about how you can like 6.6 onward is starting to get like multi-threaded allocation. They're talking about like the allocator stuff for named lists. Some people do it this way where you have like for loop and then you like give your object, I'm going to just say like spawning, or let's just say like you would have a game object here, like you do your prefab, you do your value, stuff like that. And then like at the very end you would do like you return specifically like the transform handle. And if anybody's wondering, like game objects have a thing called transform handle. And if anybody's wondering like what the heck is the transform handle, transform component, I'll show you this. Transform is a class component that cannot be burst compiled, that cannot be multi-threaded. Unity solved this with transform handle. Struck. Transform handle has built-in multi-threading and burst compilation support. By the way, again, core CLR, as of right now, like the version of Unity 6.7 I have open right now, doesn't support burst compiler with core CLR. So if you are trying to burst compile this and you notice that you don't have like burst compiled code inside your core CLR build, that's why core CLR will be getting burst compiled support in Unity 7, as far as I understood it. Hopefully Unity 7. So just heads up. But anyways, that's why like a transform handle would be for like burst compiled code. So if anybody's wondering what the heck this is. But some people might spawn a crap ton of enemies this way, where you do like your game object instantiate. Some of the new stuff involves instantiate game objects and entity IDs to object lists. For anybody that hasn't seen this API, a game object instantiate is actually I think they backported this API all the way to 6.4. I say 6.4 is because it actually uses entity ID, the entity ID API. But game object instantiate actually allows you to spawn thousands and thousands of enemies at once. Like I can actually open up a build where you could see 2.2 million game objects. Or sorry, I'm actually spawned them as direct data, so there's no game object with them, but I actually have health scripts and stuff attached to them, even though they're not actual game objects. But you can actually spawn 2.2 million enemies and actually not have a frame drop. Just in case people weren't here earlier, I'm so sorry I had to like keep opening projects. There was just so much to show, but I just want to like let people know like this API is actually kind of... Oh, right, I forgot about that bug. Fun fact, if you have something highlighted in Unity 6.7 right now, but then you hover over something else and change its setting, it disables both of them. Good job, Unity. But they've already said this bug. Okay, so here we go. 100,000 enemies, 0 frame drops. 3 draw calls, by the way. There's 3 draw calls doing this. So, like API like this, wow, I got so much open. So like, if you want to be able to spawn like thousands and thousands of enemies, this is new API you can use. The game object instantiate game objects actually allows you to instantiate a crap ton of API, or sorry, a crap ton of game objects. Do note that demo I showed off earlier, like that like performance demo, I'm actually just spawning transform handles. I'm not actually setting them. I'm not creating just game objects. And I'm actually rendering with graphics like render sprite API. So I was actually using that. That's why there's no like game objects in that actual scene. But if you want an actual game object, you can do this. And it takes in an entity ID. For anybody that is like, okay, well, we use a prefab. Prefabs have entity IDs. So like if I actually go and say like I basically have like what is called a spawning set, and there's a character prefab. The character prefab is actual game object. You can literally just say get entity ID, and that's how you would use this method. Instead of passing in the prefab itself, you would pass in the entity ID of the prefab, and you just say, okay, how many do you want to spawn? Okay, well, spawn whatever, and it spits out what is called a basically like it's a native array of entity ID for allocated entities. Do note this is not entity component. This is game objects. Allocated entities is actually a entity ID for the game object spawned from this. And allocated like transform is actually the transform of the spawn objects. And you can literally just spawn hundreds of like even thousands or tens of thousands. I'll make my build public where people can test out, where I have like 2.2 million objects being spawned. But this is some of the new API that you can start using already for like higher performance. I do, like I said, I think they backported the instantiate game objects thing all the way to like 6.4 even. And if anybody's like new to entity IDs and you're like, okay, well, you get a native array of entity ID, how do you go from the entity ID to actual object? This kind of seems weird, but there's a class called resources. This is not the same thing as your resource folder. This is not like a resource folder like editor API. the resources class actually allows you to like interact with like entity data, like entity ID data. And I wouldn't be surprised when Unity 7 comes out if like this is actually how you can do like actually you can do a entity ID based Git component using resources now, since I think about it. So you might see like some higher performant like Git component methods in this class down the line. But you can basically just actually convert the native array entity ID into your game objects, or for me, transform. So that's some of the new API that's has been already added. Oh man, I'm trying to think. Is there anything anybody wants to see? I don't like. We've already gone through like what's been inside the Keynote and the roadmap. If there's anything anyone wants to see, I can actually go for that. If anybody wants to see how to do like a dialogue graph or like anything like that, I can do that. I have like custom dialogue systems. I can even show how to do like custom nodes. Oh, you know what? While we're in this project, I mentioned earlier that there's Unity has a serialized dictionary support. I believe. Oh no, I actually changed the skill set. I was originally going to do like a skill tree system with dictionary, but because 6.6 doesn't have like the full serialization update, the dictionary that I wanted to use was not supported. If anybody's wondering, Unity 6.6, this is also a new feature that's already added. Dictionary. If you have like an int, I'm going to just say int, and I'm going to say string test dictionary, and I'm going to just say new. Oh, my fingers just do not like that. String, just to show this off. I'm gonna actually make that public. So if I actually save this right now, this won't actually appear inside the editor at first. This is actually a new feature that you can already start using. I'm so glad they added dictionary support. So if I actually go here and I'm gonna actually close out of this other like thing. Oh, actually, wait. I just realized I meant to close the other project. You know what, that works too. Let me actually go out of like the other projects and stuff because I have so much. I had so many projects and stuff open up. My computer was like screaming. It's like, why do you do this? All right, so we're gonna do it actually in here first. I'm also gonna close out the Graph Toolkit demo I was showing. Just to show off some of this new features and stuff. So notice that inside the spawn wave controller, Unity is not serializing dictionaries, even though we set it public. So if you guys are wanting to use the new dictionary serialization thing, even if your IDE might say does nothing, you'll notice that it's just grayed out. It's like, okay, it's already public. Your IDE thinks that it's already going to be serialized. Don't listen to your IDE. So as you see here, we don't have any serialized dictionary. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was saying, Dave. I want to like show people this. I want to show like, hey, there you go. Now this works. So if you are going to be testing out like serialized dictionary and you're thinking, okay, Unity 6.6, I have a public dictionary, but it's not working, you have to manually set it to serialize field. And do note there's actually several like a dictionary header and other kind of like you could do like a custom dictionary header inside a class. Like you can actually put this header on a class and you can actually create a custom like layout for your serialized dictionaries. There's a whole slew of new API. But if anybody's trying to use the new serialization for dictionaries, that's how you use that. You have to actually say serialized field on the on the dictionary that you're using. Not all values are supported, just warning. So like if I actually do spawn wave data here and so forth like this, I think I have one value in here that's not supportive. It might actually be supported, we'll find out. Because I know they also improved it inside. Okay, they actually did update it. In 6.6, I couldn't actually use my spawn wave thing, but I knew in 6.7 they were also adding more, like they were fixing some dictionary serialization issues. So it seems that they actually fixed that. Never mind, I'm not even going to go through that issue since they have already taken care of it. Okay, I'm going to be honest, guys. There's literally like, there's nothing much more I can talk about. we got through all of like the slide notes and Unity, the Unity 7 release thing. I showed off the new sky system or like I showed videos of like the new like surface global catching. I showed things for like the sky system, the fog. We got like, we went for like UI, GUI, we went for core CLR and a lot like custom physics and talked about the new physics tools and stuff like that. Like we gone through enough. It's actually lunchtime here. So for the last 2 hours, we've been kind of showing off things. There's links inside of like the chat history to some of the examples, like some of the like demo builds and stuff. If anybody has like any thing they want to specifically be demoed off in a video, just tell me. I can show them off. Do note, for Unity 6.7, if you're wanting some of the new like lighting and sky, or like not sky feature, that's going to be Unity 7 specifically. But if you want like some of the updated like lighting rate, like surface scattering stuff like that, we'll have to wait like 3 to 4 weeks because they're still they haven't made it publicly alpha yet. I mean, I could make a video of it, but you guys like, or I could try to get like access to it, but it'd be kind of awkward if like I'm like, hey, follow along if you want to do this lighting, and you guys can't use the Unity version I'm showing off. But so the sky system is basically in Unity 7. Again, this is Unity 7, not 6.7. The sky system, they built a new photorealistic unit setup with lighting, and it actually creates like you have like a cloud, you have like light scattering for the clouds. I can actually reopen it up and show that off real quick. Let me actually open this up and actually show it. Okay, should be right above here. Yeah, here it is. So basically, like the new sky system includes like physically simulated lights, fog color. So basically, for people that weren't here earlier, you could have a flashlight, and the flashlight would actually like scatter along the fog. And anytime the flashlight actually bounces off objects in direct lighting for the environment, stuff like that, the fog could actually like subsurface scatter it and stuff like that. And all of it's physically based lighting. So you have like actual like built-in like physics-based lighting for like clouds, sky simulation, and stuff like that. I don't know what all tools they plan to have inside the editor for like Unity 7 right off the bat. So I don't know if you're we'll see in like a few weeks. I guess we'll say, because Unity 7 alpha probably. Oh man, I can't say that. Never mind. We'll just say Unity 7 beta. Well, yeah, we're going to say Unity 7 beta will be public in November. But there is technically a Unity 7, I guess it'd be pre-alpha build right now, but they're not public. So give a few weeks and I can give you more information and see what I can talk about. But yeah, I will say this, what I have seen, it looks good. It really does look good, and performance is not bad. I mean, there's still some kinks, but it's like honestly, like the GTA, like the ground truth ambient occlusion and the surface catch global illumination updates, the performance has been spectacular. Like a mobile device, like you can render like the dynamic lighting with like bounce lights on a phone, and the performance is really good, guys. It really is. It feels weird seeing new render features added to a game engine, and instead of like, oh crap, we're gonna have to wait a little bit for performance to get better, but we're not going to have to, because the performance has been good just straight out of the box. It's just been kind of nice out of the box. It's really weird. I don't know about you guys, but like after years of like, okay, getting a new feature, you're like, oh, this looks pretty. Okay, I gotta wait a couple more versions for it to be optimized. It's nice to actually just have a new feature, and it's just like, oh, I can just use this now. I don't have to wait for like optimization changes. It's just like optimized right out of the box. Can the fog be controlled for only a portion in a scene? As far as okay. Yes and no. Your choice. As far as I heard, I don't know if this is going to be Unity 7. possibly a volumetric like box. You know, like VFX graph, you can actually choose like a volume bounding box for like your particles. As far as I understand, that could be for like the fog. I don't know if that's going to be like straight out of Unity 7 though. It might be like it might be physics based from like camera viewpoint, so like camera rendering, like a post process. But there were I don't know if they're doing like a volume bounding box for that yet. I will have to ask about that. I'm gonna say, let's just say it's a full scene based for render, like a physical render, like a physical camera rendering, and not like being able to choose like in like specific parts just for now, because I know like you can do like entire like areas with the fog, but I don't know like about like doing in certain parts of a map. I'm pretty sure there's something coming along lines, but I don't know if it's Unity 7. And like I said, I don't want to say like, hey, this feature is 100% coming, and I end up being wrong. I don't. The problem with like showing and talking about certain things that are not publicly available, there's literally features I showed off like a couple of years ago that weren't publicly available, but I was told it's okay to show, and then they got scrapped. And people were like, hey, where is this feature you talked about like at this point in time? I was like, and I just have to like tell them like the horror thing, like, it was scrapped. I'm pretty sure that's the idea for the fog system, is like you will be able, I know you're going to be able to do that sooner or later. I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to say will know in 2 days. Actually, yeah, like I say, give me 2 days. There's a specific reason why I'm saying in 2 days. 2 days from now, there's going to be a example video going public, not just on fog, but everything I like. You know, there's a like a keynote that Unity talked about in Seoul. Like this is actually from last night's. I think I watched this at 12 a.m. Like this was actually from like it talked about last night, the Unity keynote. But the slides, this like what I'm showing right here, the slides presentation, that has not gone public yet on the live stream. Like what I'm showing you here is actually not up on YouTube's like channel yet. That I think it's supposed to go live in like 2 days. Unity yeah, let me actually check this. Because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay, so the recap, like what I'm showing, like what I showed for the stream isn't supposed to be shown on YouTube's own, or like Unity's own channel for 2 more days. So I actually was these slides are actually what they're going to be showing off inside of this video. Oh, I just realized that's weird. I showed off the presentation roadmap slides before Unity showed it off on their official YouTube channel. Hey, I didn't think about that one. But I say give 2 more days, because this recap, they're gonna go and show more stuff off that I haven't showed off inside the slides, like actual videos and stuff. And by then I'll have more information. I'll talk to a couple people and ask around, because there were a couple questions in the stream today that I'm just like, I need to ask first. Okay, to be fair, they were the ones that like handed out the PDF file. To be fair, they're the ones that handed out the PDF file. And the reason why I say technically the roadmap, like the roadmap solving is going on like right now. So this is a recap video that Unity is going to be going public. The reason why I have all this information is because that's like going on, like the actual like Soul event, it's literally going on right now as we speak. Like the slides and stuff, like the presentation, like talking about like the slides and stuff that I was showing during the stream is being held right now in Seoul. So so like anybody that's like either been in Seoul or was given it like the files like from Unity themselves, we can actually see it like before everyone else. And there's no NDA, so like they handed out the PDF. I think they even said they were going to add it to the forums, so you might actually see this PDF on a forum soon. But yeah, so I sometimes is given information a little too soon sometimes. I mean, none of it's breaking NDA, so I mean it's perfectly fine. But I'm gonna call it, guys. It's I just wanted to show off like some of the stuff and show off like some of the demos and stuff, and also show off some of the examples. And yeah, so I'm calling it for now. Thank you all for watching. Oh yeah, okay, command line interface stuff. Okay, you know what? Wait, I'm glad you brought that up. We're gonna stay on stream for a little bit longer. Command line interface stuff. Blender. Blender. That's all I'm gonna say. For the command line interface stuff, like I said, I don't do any of the AI things. The command line interface things, it's gonna be really nice. I have a public post on Unity forum talking about how I was actually crashing Unity through the CLI. That's 100% on me, by the way. I was actually messing with how Unity allocated stuff in RAM directly, so that crash is 100% on me, but I was having fun with it. I was literally editing Unity's boot config file for like the CLI. The CLI, for anybody that doesn't know, I was trying to see where it is inside the slides. I believe it's, yeah, Unity production. For anybody that doesn't know what the CLI is, they have a new CLI stuff, and it's going to be not just in Unity 7. It's already usable in some stuff. Example of what you can do with the CLI: hook up Blender with your Unity editor. As you update a model inside of Blender, like before you even hit save, there's a way you can actually link up the CLI to actually make it where, like, as you move an object in Blender, or like, let's say you have like you paint like let's actually open up Blender 5.1 just to show this off. But there's ways that make it where, like, as you update a texture, like as you paint a texture inside of like Blender with texture painting, it updates inside of the Unity editor itself, and you can actually see like the lighting from Unity. Like that's one thing you do. So like for example, like if you actually go to like paint mode, this is not going to be built into Unity default. This is just one thing you can do, just heads up. But like you could actually like paint on like a model and stuff, and you could have like Blender like halfway open to like a Unity project, and you can actually like make the CLI update Unity while you're painting to see what the lighting and shadow could do. That's one possibility of the CLI thing. Another thing, Blender geometry nodes. That was actually my first thought with the CLI. I have some dirty ideas to use Blender's geometry nodes run like live during like editing 3D scenes inside Unity. Yeah, that's also true. Like the CLI thing, you can do like builds and stuff, and so forth. Like for people that do like enterprise stuff, or like just really love doing like asset related like application stuff, it's gonna be really nice. I could think of uses with Sprite. I could think of uses with Pixel Composer. For anybody that doesn't know what Pixel Composer is, I can actually show that off real quick. Yeah, we can actually like open up like Pixel Composer. I'm thinking with the CLI you can like link data from Pixel Composer. I mean, it's not just for like accessing like asset editing maps. You can use the CLI to do cloud builds. The hot reload, fun fact, like the hot reload, earlier I showed off how you could change code. Like I showed like a video where you could change code in Unity. Like your Unity editor, hit save, and it will reload a build on your phone. That's part of CLI. The new Unity CLI is actually what allows your the hot load reload feature. Do note, a hot reload is only in Unity 7. That is a Unity 7 specific thing. But the hot reload API works with the new Unity CLI, and that's actually what allows you to like update something inside your Unity editor, and it updates a build on your phone without having to create a whole new build. So CLI is good. Oh yeah, you can actually like do some wonky stuff with like the CLI. Oh yes. Launching Pixel Composer. For one example, the reason why I wanted to show the Pixel Composer, I had some really crazy ideas with the Graph Toolkit. So with the graph toolkit, you could do some like you can make your own graphs and stuff. My first thought with the CLI was linking Pixel Composer's graph with the tool, like Unity's like graph. So like for example, oh yeah, I need to change version or like update version 2 to do. Let's actually see. Let's open splash screen. Let's actually open the splash screen. So workshop. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is like you could actually like link Pixel Composer, and you could actually like have like the like data linked into a sprite render or something. You can actually like test stuff out. So like let's actually go to the end so we can show this off. Yeah. So it'd be kind of fun to be able to like edit like UI stuff inside Pixel Composer and actually like have it just inject it into Unity like live as you edit it. Because I'm thinking like you could actually test out stuff. Also, you could link like the procedural, like a procedural rock generation. So like you can actually like just test out like rock generating. I'm trying to remember. There should be a. Oh, okay. So they updated the UI. Is there a way to like need to like invalidate like the I was gonna say to like update the like procedural rock generated. I would just have to like invalidate the catch, stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm thinking like something like this is where you can like take in like other application data, like external data from other applications, and actually like pull it into Unity. I mean, you could do cloud builds, you can do like a version control, like custom version control setup, stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of things. Oh yeah, I was just testing out like shape like generation. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I am getting hungry and it's kind of hot here. So I just want to like demonstrate some stuff that's coming in Unity 6.7 and also show like API examples of how to use some of the new features. Okay, well, technically you already can with audio. It's called audio script generators. That's okay. For anybody that, I don't know how many people are like stuck on older versions of Unity. If you actually, if I actually in Unity 6.7, if I create an audio source here, notice how instead of saying audio clip, it says audio generator. Yeah. So there's now a scriptable audio API, and you could do some fun stuff with it. There's actually a official Unity demo. Well, actually, I don't know if it's official, but it's by one of the one of the actual Unity dev, like engine devs, and he showed how to do it, like create a 8-bit audio clip generation system without any other tools, like just straight in Unity's audio source inspector. And you can actually like create like higher pitch, like jumping, like Mario jump sound effects, like 8-bit like bullet firing sound effects using the API. It's literally like the audio generator API. So if I actually go, I'm gonna just like go here real quick. But if anybody's like kind of wondering about it, it's like audio generator, and you could do some fun stuff with this. So Tech Dave, that is already possible. You can 100% do that. You can, and again, you can hook this up to the Graph Toolkit. I try to remember. Do you know if you do test out like the audio generator stuff, go to your project settings. Inside of project settings, go to your audio. Make sure. Oh right, okay. Unity 6.7 is now just default. Okay. There used to be an option that you had to like click here, and it said, and you had to like choose, do you want to use like the audio generator? I forgot. Unity 6.7. It's just now it's the only audio backend. I forgot. Just if you're using like 6.6 or 6.5, do you know this audio generating has been in like Unity for like a few versions now, but like from like 6.3 to like 6.6 maybe. You had to actually go into your actual like project settings and actually. I see how you are, Unity. Is this just opening up a crap ton of nope. Okay, JetBrains Writer is just having fun here. Or wait, Unity, did you actually Unity might have just actually like incorrectly put in the URL. But you can see like it involves like the scriptable generator bindings and also some of the oh yeah, I forgot about the ARC system. If anybody doesn't know what the ARC system is, it's really good as well. Like that's been a feature for a long time, since like 2022. That's been an audio feature. But yeah, so they're basically tech day. Yeah, you can do it. It's already a thing. You just need to use like the iAudio generator, and then you can probably use some of the ARC API as well. Do note the audio random container class itself is internal, but there's some of the ARC API. ARC API, by the way, is literally it gets its name A from audio, R random, and then C, so container. So ARC audio random container. So if you hear me say ARC API, that's the audio random container API. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's going to use Graph Toolkit to make a graph. Oh wait, no, they've actually already did this. I forgot. Someone made a DSP graph editor inside of Unity already with the iAudio generator API. I think they put it on side the Unity discussion forums. I don't remember though. But I actually do remember there's actually a DSP graph, and they actually hooked it up to the Playables API. So there's somewhere a weird project that's using like iAudio generator and actually linking a custom DSP graph to Playables, and it's a custom animation audio playable graph thing, so you can actually like distort like sound effects during animations using the Playables thing. And it literally just, you can create like a scriptable object and like drag it into a timeline. Yeah, it's, someone got bored. Someone got very, very, very bored. I mean, very, very bored. But yeah. So, oh, man, I forgot about that, actually. I wonder if I actually just search DSP graph Playables, because if I remember right, he just had it on like a GitHub repo. Ha! Yep. Oh, Unity actually had a manual page on it. I don't know if this was meant to be public. Yeah, okay, yeah. So, but like, yeah, it's basically like a DSP graph sample buffer system, and you could actually generate like audio, like 8-bit audio sounds and stuff like that. And it uses like burst compiler and like multi-threading. Do you know, I'm not sure if this is actually going to be coming to Unity 7 like production ready, because like this was like before they restarted or like start doing the animation like folding. Fun fact, the first testing of like the animation graph that they showed off like a few years ago, I'm pretty sure I actually used some of the DPS stuff like inside of it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I could probably find the project. Like there was actually a GitHub repo showing it off. But yeah, lunchtime. I'm gonna call it, guys. I'm actually glad you thought about that, because I actually was thinking about this for my Vampire Survivor like project. And if anybody's wondering why this was made, it's basically Unity's Fmod, their own version of Fmod implementation. Yes, Unity was doing test audio framework for like an Fmod style system using this. I think they mentioned in the notes somewhere. Oh yeah, they actually literally mention it right here. So that's what that API, that's what like some of the like iAudio generators. But I am seriously gonna go. One, I'm hungry, and two, it's hot. It's actually almost 120 degrees with heat index, and I don't have my air conditioning on right now, so that way it doesn't get picked up by the mic. Like it is boiling hot right now. Like, I wish I was kidding about the 100. We have a freaking we actually have like an extreme heat death warning. I wish I was kidding, but there's actually like an extreme heat and death warning in my county right now for like 120 degree temperature. So I'm in the extreme, go and get lunch, and I'm turning on my air conditioner. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'll actually be creating tutorial videos for some of the stuff we showed off today. And I'll try to get access to some of the demo stuff like I did like with the Graph Toolkit, and I'll share it with everybody once I know it's okay to share it. But you guys have a getting a wildfire smoke? No, just the middle the middle west part of America. We are literally, so it's 93, just temperature, but 89% humidity. And the heat that, and with the sun, that made the 92 temperature go to 120 heat index. Welcome to my life. It sucks. It's literally a soggy wasteland desert. But I am way too far south to see the smoke, thankfully. But you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you all for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorials that I'll be sharing in the near future for like a lot of the multi-threading and new features that we'll be seeing in Unity. You guys take it easy. Have a wonderful day.